Okay, we're back here with the Carolina Weather Group. I'm Jared Smith, taking over for Scotty here, who had to jump off. We are still dealing with multiple tornado warnings in the Carolinas. The first one, we'll start in South Carolina with a tornado warning for a storm that is approaching Lawrence. I'm going to go pull in some data, some radar data here from GSP. It looks like this circulation is not nearly as pronounced as it was, but we still have this tornado warning. It's past Greenwood, so Greenwood, you're still in the polygon for now, but um, this should eventually get reboxed at a minimum, if not dropped. I'm not really seeing much in the way of rotation on radar right now, and there's no signs of any debris being lofted. However, could have some gusty winds moving into Gray Court and the Laurens. But again, if you're in Gray Court and Laurens right now, what we want you to do is be in your tornado safe place. That's an interior room on the lowest floor of a site built structure away from the outside. Put as many walls between you and the outside as possible, and that will be just fine. But again, if you're in Greenwood right now, Greenwood, Hodges, I think it's probably safe to say that you are in the clear from this. The warning has not been reboxed, but I think you'll be okay. All right, so let's move into North Carolina here, and again, we're going to be getting into a little bit of a radar no man's land with this, and so we're going to do our best. Uh, we have a strong indication of rotation just north of Taylorsville, about ready to get into southern Wilkes County. So if you're in, this is going to get North Wilkesboro. It looks like. So if you're in North Wilkesboro right now, we need you to be in a safe place. Moravian Falls, North Wilkesboro, pretty strong indication of rotation just north of Taylorsville. Looking at the correlation coefficient again, we're at the height from the radar, unfortunately, that it makes it very difficult for us to do any debris detection. Um, so so we're going to have to see. We're going to have to see what's what here with that. But again. Radar indication that a tornado could develop at any time. Moving now into southern Wilkes County, Moravian Falls, North Wilkesboro, the main areas of concern for me here. A couple other places: Boomer, Cricket, Wilkesboro Reservoir, and Buck as well. So Wilkesboro, yeah, so all through. Yeah, just right into southern Wilkes County. Goes up, the warning goes roughly up to about Highway 421. So if you're listening along somewhere, if you're on Highway 421 right now, that is in Wilkes County. Keep in mind that you are under a tornado warning in that location. So definitely want folks to be taking this very seriously here. I'm going to be making some. I'm going to be have a bunch of different sources of radar, which is helpful. So I'm getting some of that stuff booted up as we get into this coverage. But again, the main area of rotation is exiting Alexander County and going into southern Wilkes right now. So we're going to keep an eye on that. But again, we still have a tornado warning for Laurens County as well. So we're going to go back and forth. We're just going to bounce around here. And again, the Greenville Spartanburg's keeping this tornado warning going. I don't really see much in the way of a circulation still here, but I think the concern is that a new one could spin up at any time. And so out of an abundance of caution, the tornado warning for Laurens is going to continue. And this has now been taken out of Greenwood County. So Hodges, Greenwood, you are decidedly in the clear. This line of thunderstorms is moving into Laurens proper right now at the confluence of 221 and 76. Zooming in real tight here. So here's Laurens, city center of Laurens here. Gray Court, you're in the north of this. And again, this is, we'll see if this becomes an issue up that way. But as we wait for some additional radar data to come online here. But again, looking at our rotation product is nothing. And the normalized rotation product usually would have little patches of green here. There's nothing, so that's good news. But again, out of an abundance of caution, the risk for a thunderstorm with a tornado remains possible here for the next let's see. I missed that. This continues until 6:15. So this tornado warning is going to go for another about 6 minutes. Um, and again, the good news is that we have a little bit of a notch here, but we're not seeing any signs of uh, acute rotation there, which is excellent news. And again, in this area, we have a severe thunderstorm watch in effect as well. Um, but we've had several tornado warnings. As if you've been watching today, you know that's been something that we've been keeping a close eye on. I'm going to change this site here. So again, we're going to be bouncing around a little bit. Um, and it's just one of those days, friends, and yet another yeah, just yet another severe weather day in the Low Country, right? Feels like we're doing that a lot these days. Um, and let me see here. Did I say Low Country? No, I'm sorry. It's in the Carolinas. Sorry, I'm still a little too Charleston focused. I apologize. All right, so let's go back to our tornadic circulation in North Wilkesboro here in the Wilkesboro area. And again, we're going to have to bounce back and forth between a couple different sources of radar on this. This is looking for the Greenville Spartanburg radar. And you see we're getting into that purple a little bit. That purple is what we call range folding. So you get far enough away from the radar. It doesn't know really how fast the round trip is. It can't calculate it very well. It's a really complicated math, but all you have to know is that this means that we are getting towards the edge, and we are getting towards the edge of the radar range here, and so where it's useful here. So what we're going to do is as I mentioned, I've got a couple different sources here. So we're going to go to Blacksburg. And Blacksburg, they've configured their radar, even though it's a little bit further, they've configured it to where we'll have a clean view of it. So again, we have a couple things to point out with this is this crosses really, if there's a tornado here, it's probably just crossed into southern Wilkes County, leaving northern Alexander County. If you're in Taylorsville, this is just about over for you. There's another thunderstorm behind it, and we'll need to keep an eye on that as time goes on, because there is another area of rotation once again in Catawba County. It's not tornado warned, but we're going to keep an eye on this because we have seen a couple storms come behind each other and produce circulations. So we're going to keep an eye on that very closely here. But again, the tornado warned storm up towards Taylorsville. There's your little inflow notch. There's a little bit of a hook echo here. You can see kind of some weak reflectivity. That's called it's a little weak echo region, as we call it, and now that's kind of closed off. So you have this little donut hole, this bounded weak echo region, and so this is yeah. So again, this is coming into Moravian Falls. Right now, and again, we're just we're just constantly looking to nope, that's not what I wanted. All right, cool. Yeah, this is just continuing to get a look at the tornadic circulation. GSP has the tornadic circulation. This is where it gets frustrating. It has the circulation a little bit lower. It's a little bit displaced from what we're seeing on Blacksburg. So really right now at the edge of the Alexander and Wilkes line, we certainly have some issues. And a good comment here from Colin on Facebook, and thank you for this, Colin. Conover at the Catawba Alexander line, and the thunder and wind are really picking up. We do have an intensifying thunderstorm near there. Let me go back to the high res for a minute here, and you can see right here. We put on that and we have that little bit of rotation here. Here's the rotation product. You can see that tiny little pock of a little bit of enhanced rotation in this area. And yeah, I mean, you can see it really well actually when you go on the storm relative. This is a pretty pretty good looking circulation. It wouldn't shock me if this got warned at some point. As it leaves Catawba County and heads into southern Alexander County. So Taylorsville, you're done with one storm, but you may have another knocking on your doorstep. We're going to need to keep a close eye on this for you there. So real quick, just to note that the tornado warning that was in effect for Lawrence County in South Carolina has been allowed to expire. So that is so that's good news. There's the tornado warning in there has dropped. So that is very good news. But in the interim, we are still dealing with it, two tornado warnings. One in Alexander County. And the reason why there's like two warnings here on this is because we're at a boundary between two weather forecast offices. So Wilkes County, you are served by the Weather Service office out of Blacksburg, Virginia. Alexander County is served by the National Weather Service office out of Greenville, Spartanburg. So that's why there's two tornado warnings on one storm here. But and it's just the way it is. There. Let's see. I've got some additional questions coming in. I'm gonna rally as much information as I can for you regarding the highways. I don't have that. I don't have Highway 16 plugged into my radar software apparently, which is interesting. So I'm going to need to keep an eye on that. I'll get that information to you shortly here. But again, right now, taking a look at I'm just getting some things set up so I can help pinpoint some of these locations for y'all. So yeah, just a moment here as I get those things settled. Reading it from a lot of data flowing here right now. To put it mildly, there's a lot going on this afternoon again. All right, so yeah, Highway 16 looks like this is. I don't know why this isn't showing up here, but it looks like this is moving right up Highway 16 into Wilkesboro. It looks like it's going to be. I don't know why I have that. I don't have that plugged in. I'll have to figure that out. I'll figure out what's going on with that. But yeah, this is taking a look at Business 421 and the intersection here. Yeah, it looks like this is indeed moving east of Highway 16 in Wilkesboro, at least right now. And again, we're going to have to look at this from two radars because the angle that we have here is just not very good. But you can see very clear evidence of rotation, strong winds headed towards the radar. And in this case, we're looking at Blacksburg, and then strong winds headed away from the radar, again, with the radar being to the northeast here. So here's your tornado signature. Again, we don't know if there's a tornado here. And unfortunately, it's just too high up for us to be able to see if there is any debris being lofted. There's a lot of lightning in this, and that will sometimes mess with the signal downstream. So again, can't really tell if there's any debris being lofted with this, but that doesn't necessarily mean that there's nothing down. So again, what we want you to do is if you're in this tornado warning, if you're in Wilkesboro, North Wilkesboro, Moravian Falls, we want you to be in a safe place, interior room, hallway, closet, bathroom, on the lowest floor of a site-built structure. So campers, RVs, mobile homes, find site-built structure because tornadoes and mobile housing just do not mix. It's just not a good idea at all. So again, and again, we have, let's see. So GSP has issued a new severe thunderstorm warning. So there's two new severe thunderstorm warnings. I'm going to call these out real quick. So the storm around Taylorsville, storm south of Taylorsville now has a severe thunderstorm warning on it with a tornado possible tag. So we could see a new tornado warning on this if this rotation persists. And then a second one in Catawba County near Lincolnton I'll switch back to the GSP radar so we can show this to you a little bit better, because we're a little bit closer to the GSP radar on this vantage point here. So here's one area of rotation right here near Lincolnton, and this has just garnered a severe thunderstorm warning. Here's that other area of rotation that I was talking about near Catawba County and Alexander County, now crossing the line there. This is, again, these are not tornado warnings, these are severe thunderstorm warnings, but the writings on the wall, if these continue to exhibit this kind of rotation, a tornado warning could be required. So we are watching that very, very intently right now. Again, the only tornado warning on the board, only tornado warnings, even though there's one tornadic storm, is the storm in Wilkes County, and with a really, really solid circulation here at about 7,000 feet. We are, and in Greenville, Spartanburg, GSP radar is just too much in the haze for me to be able to get another look at that. So what we're going to do, we're just going to hold tight with Blacksburg here, and we actually have a let me go back to the local radar here, and you can see here's your circulation. And here it is right here approaching Highway 421. And this is going to there's business 421 right here, and here's Highway 421, and then Highway 16 is roughly here, and then we have, okay, and so we have a new tornado warning now. So we have a new red polygon up, a new tornado warning now on this same storm. Continues for North Wilkesboro and Moravian Falls here. This is until 6:45. It also takes in southwestern Surrey County, eastern Wilkes County, and western Yadkin County in North Carolina. This goes until 6:45, and again, the severe thunderstorm capable of producing a tornado near Moravian Falls, near Wilkesboro, moving northeast at 30 miles per hour. Tornado is possible. Quarter-size hail is possible. Damaging wind gusts are possible here. So if you're in any of these places, North Wilkesboro, Elkin, Wilkesboro, Jonesville, Boonville, Rhonda, and Windy Gap, we need you to be taking shelter now in an interior room on the lowest floor of a sturdy site-built structure. So again, here's the circulation. There's a donut hole here, and if there's any hail falling, it's going to be probably going to be right now, moving into North Wilkesboro. Actually, you see where this is turning like purple and black. That's certainly an indication that there's some hail falling here. And again, the warning did call out quarter-size hail as another hazard from this. Typically, with the supercell thunderstorm like this, you have the rotation to the south. This is where the circulation is, and then in the forward flank here, that's where you get your hail and very heavy rain and some downdraft and damaging downdraft winds. So that's what we're concerned about here. And again, generally speaking, the track of this storm is going to take this across Highway 421 towards Rhonda and Jonesville. So again, if you're in any of those locations that we just called out, it's going to cross Highway 421 to Rhonda and Jonesville in the next 15 or 30 minutes. So again, we need folks in those areas to be taking shelter as soon as possible. Very important to be doing that. There is, and also keep in mind that we've got a couple other storms trying to come in behind. We got a whole conga line here of thunderstorms that's trying to come in behind this. We have a particularly nasty looking hook echo here. Let me go back to analyst here real quick. Near Earl and Grover. This just crossed out of the South Carolina. This just crossed into North Carolina in southern Cleveland County here, and there is a decent sign of rotation here. Tilt up a little bit, we can see the mesocyclone a little bit further aloft. And again, this rotation isn't near the ground, but this has a hook echo signature here. And you better believe that the Weather Service is keeping a close eye on this. This is going to cross Highway 74 here in a few minutes near Patterson Springs and Kings Mountain. So again, no warning on this, but we're going to keep an eye on this because I can imagine that there will be another warning at some point on that, given the atmosphere and given the environment that these storms are moving into. We have a severe thunderstorm warning in Lincoln County into Catawba County. So this includes Conover, Newton, Maiden, and Lincolnton. This is exhibiting some rotation. It's not terribly well organized, but this is certainly rotating. Hail, damaging winds, and then if this rotation continues to strengthen, a possible tornado. Tornado is not out of the question here. We have rotating thunderstorm south of Taylorsville here. Let me get the storm motion vectors updated here, so we make sure we get you the most accurate look at this. A little bit of a ragged rotation crossing Catawba County into Alexander County, south of Taylorsville towards Stony Point. A couple strong storms near here. So again, we've got quite a lineup here. This one near Shelby County, I got to tell you that I think they may have to warn on this soon. The circulation here is tightening in southern Cleveland County. If you're around Patterson Springs and Kings Mountain and Grover, I'm going to recommend that you get a foot away from that tornado shelter, because I would not be shocked if they warned on this. This is as nasty as the signatures I've seen all day. And this is about to cross Highway 74 here between Patterson Springs and Kings Mountain. Light Oak, Bessemer City, you may be near this. Kings Mountain, you may be a little too close for comfort, but there is clear evidence of rotation north of Grover. Again, there's no warning on this yet, but I can imagine that it may only be a matter of time at this point. So again, the only tornado warning on the board is actually further north of here, and this is the storm that is in Wilkes County. So we're going to go back to the Wilkes County storm. We've got the circulation up here, and again, there's your rotation, there's your circulation here, looking about 6,500 feet into the storm. So again, we're not able to see directly at the ground with this because we have, because the radar range and the way that radar works, we're just not able to see right there at the ground. But what we can see is, a little bit further up, and that can give us a general idea of the behavior of these storms. So again, near Moravian Falls, 421, and we have a new tornado warning now for the Lincolnton storm. Interesting. Okay, so let me so we have a new tornado warning. Let me get that for you. That's actually not come through here yet. So let me let's do this. I'll go ahead and call it out. So if you're a Maiden right now, tornadic circulation, again, we're not getting a good look from Blacksburg here. I'll switch to GSP in a minute, but if you're in Maiden, Newton, up towards Statesville and Iredell County, this includes this includes let's see, this is northern Lincoln County. This is Lincoln County. This is not going to be a problem for you for too terribly long, but northern Lincoln County here, into much of Catawba County, Newton, Conover, up Highway 321 towards I-40, Conover, Claremont, Catawba, town of Catawba here, up towards Statesville and Iredell County, going up Highway 70. That is where we have a new tornado warning, and I should be able now to pull that up on the high res here. So let me switch to that. And again, so here, this thunderstorm right here near Maiden, very clearly there may be two circulations here, one here and one behind it. So it'll be interesting to see. Again, no reports of anything down, but again, the indication from the Weather Services is that a thunderstorm could produce a tornado at any time here. So we've got to keep a close eye on that. And then we have so this is one tornado warning here, and then the second tornado warning for the storm in Wilkes County, and we'll bounce back to that one now. Here, let me switch to that. So so here's your circulation in Wilkes County, again, pretty decently well defined here. It's about ready to cross. Circulation here is about ready to cross Highway 421 near Windy Gap. Just to the, this is gonna move to the east of Wilkesboro and North Wilkesboro, which is good news for those communities for sure. Let me see. Do I have that radar here? FCX. Yes, I do. All right, we're going to switch to that. We're going to switch to. I've got a ton of. Again, I'm running a bunch of different radar sources here. So because we practice what we preach here. We want you to have multiple ways to get severe weather information, and I too have multiple ways to get severe weather information. So the rotation is crossing. So we have this rotation here crossing Highway 421 right now. This is going to pass to the east of Wilkesboro and North Wilkesboro. This is headed towards Roaring River, Clingman, and Rhonda. That's not on this map here. It's I can get Rhonda on this map, but here's the circulation. This is pretty much got eyes on Rhonda and Jonesville. Um, so again, if you're in any of those locations, it is definitely time to seek shelter. Roaring River, Benham, Pleasant Hill, all locations that we would definitely want everybody to be taking this very seriously and get to an interior room on the lowest floor, away from windows, in a storm shelter, bathroom, closet. If you got a basement, that's awesome. Um, so we'll want to make sure that that can that you can be safe. We want you to be safe this afternoon. And now we have, and again, we have this second storm here um, near Maiden that is producing decent rotation. Let me bounce us back to that one because again, we're bouncing today, my friends. We are all over the place today. So here's the Maiden storm. Circulation's pretty much right on top of Maiden. Uh, if I had to guess. So here's your inflow notch. There's your hook echo. If there is something in there, it's going to be right over Maiden right now. Again, we're seeing a drop in the correlation coefficient, but this is hail. This is big hail falling between 321 and business 321. This is hail, and this hail core is approaching Newton. So if you're in Newton, you may end up skirting away from the tornado threat, but the hail threat is going to increase in Newton and perhaps even Conover. So if you're in those areas, we want you to be, still if you've received a ping on your phone, we want you to be in tornado shelter for this. But the immediate concern here, let me get the storm motion real quick. I can do a little storm track on this. So again, this is going to cross I-40 in about 30 minutes. Headed towards Stony Point, and going to kind of maybe split the difference between Stony Point and Statesville if it continues on the current track. So again, this is going to approach I-40. So again, the call to action here is travel between Newton and Statesville and I-40 is probably not a good idea right now. So if you know anybody that's there or approaching that, you may want to counsel them to get out of there. Go to a convenience store. Just pull off the road for a little bit. This is actually, and this is going to pick up the 40 and 77 interchange here. Although I don't know that there's actually an interchange here, just where the two interstates intersect at Statesville here. Yeah, there is an interchange. So yay, satellite data. Sometimes we don't get it in the road network, but we see it in the satellite data. So again, Statesville, the I-40 and 77 interchange here, a little too close for comfort for the potential for a tornado. I am going to step away for 30 seconds. I'm going to keep the radar up here, and I will be right back. Okay, thank you for your patience. Jared Smith here with the Carolina Weather Group here. It's a little past 6:30, and we're here in continuous tornado coverage for a couple tornado warnings in North Carolina. We have one of those tornado warnings is for Alexander, Catawba, Iredell, and Lincoln County until 7:15. So that's this one right here. This is a storm over Maiden approaching Newton here, and this is going to get very close to Stony Point and maybe even Statesville. So we want folks in this area to be taking shelter now. Then we have a second storm in Wilkes County that we will bounce over to here on the Blacksburg radar, and you can see again we're looking a little high up into this. It's not the best defined in the world, but you can certainly see that there is evidence of rotation crossing US Highway 421. This is east of Wilkesboro and North Wilkesboro. So this is headed towards Rhonda, Jonesville. In those communities there. So again, we want folks in those areas to be taking shelter right now on an interior room, lowest floor, the lowest floor of a sturdy storm shelter or basement. If you got a basement, that's excellent news. But that's certainly something that we're concerned about with the rotation approaching places like Roaring River, Clingman, Swan Creek, Pleasant Hill, Benham. Again, lots of locations being affected here, and this is yet another day of severe weather, and we have a new tornado warning now. All right, we have a new tornado warning for Catawba, Cleveland, Gaston, Lincoln until 7:15, and I think I know why. I think I alluded to this storm earlier. And actually it's not as organized as it was. Let's go back. Let's bounce down to this new tornado warning here. So we have a tornado warning. This includes the town of Cherryville, Lincolnton, and Maiden. Maiden, you're kind of double boxed right now with tornado warnings, but you've got another rotation on your doorstep. This rotation just crossed Highway 74. This is that really impressive looking storm that had a good hook echo a few frames ago. The hook echo is actually not so good now. It looks a little more rain wrapped, but that is a clear indication of rotation that just crossed US 74 near Light Oak. This looks like this is just gonna pass to the northeast or northwest rather of Kings Mountain here. But if you're in Waco, Cherryville, High Shoals, Laboratory, Iron Station, Lincolnton again, Boger City, definitely time is now to be seeking shelter. This is a pretty good looking rotation. Again, we're not seeing any signs of debris being lofted right now. This just crossed out of South Carolina. There is another area of rotation trying to organize around Grover and Earl. There is definitely some sort of enhancement in the low-level shear here that's causing these basically every storm here to rotate. So again, new tornado warning now north of Highway 74 in Cleveland County. This is going to cross into Gaston County. Gastonia, you're not in the warning. This is closer than you might like, but Gastonia is not included in this tornado warning. This is going to cross into. This is going to approach Cherryville, Lincolnton, and Maiden. So again, in Maiden, you just had a tornadic circulation move to your north. So we're seeing all sorts of updates here. So the first tornado warning for Lincoln County has been dropped, but now you're under that same area is now under a new tornado warning. So the call to action in Lincolnton continues to be, stay in a safe place, that tornado safe place, that interior room on that lowest floor of that site-built structure. Going to need to hang out there for a little bit as we've got conga line of storms approaching your location. We have another tornado warning that's ongoing in Wilkes County right now and in Yadkin County. This is for a rotation that's moving north of Highway 421 and approaching Rhonda here. Again, there's your circulation, circling it here with my mouse, and this one is a dangerous thunderstorm approaching Rhonda right now. So again, if you're in the town of Rhonda, important to seek shelter as soon as you can. All right, and I'm just continuing to get as much data as I can here. Logging into chat rooms here, and keeping an eye on keeping an open line with the Weather Service is very important for that. We have another. We have 3 tornado warnings on the board right now. As we zoom out, take a look at this, stretching from roughly Cleveland and Gaston County all the way up through Catawba, all the way to Alexander and Iredell, and then we have another one in Wilkes and Yadkin and Surrey counties. A tiny little bit of Surrey County taken in on that. If this continues, this Mount Airy could be affected here. Dobson, again, you're not under a warning right now, but Jonesville, Dobson, Mount Airy, keep an eye on this. Generally up Highway 601, approaching Highway 52. You're not under a warning right now, but if this continues to do what it's doing, we may definitely need to consider the potential for severe weather in this area. So, and again, we're just kind of bouncing around here with multiple tornado warnings. So here's the velocity view of the southernmost storms. So the Cleveland County storm. Here's 1, 2. And then can't see it as well, but here's 3. So we were 3 active circulations that we're tracking right now And again, there seems to be some sort of something here that is causing that is helping some sort of boundary here that's helping to enhance the low level shear. So that is certainly a development that we're going to watch very closely here. Again, right now, if I look at correlation coefficient on this storm near Shelby and Light Oak, I don't see any signs of debris being lofted, which is good. We like to see that. We hope we don't see that. But again, we want people to be prepared for the possibility of a tornado coming down at any time. A tornado could form at any time. Have a question about the northern parts of Statesville. And so again, Iredell County, Statesville, you are in that tornado warning. This is going to get close. This is definitely on track for you in the next. Let me recalibrate the storm motion here real quick for this particular. Whoa, that's a little extreme close up. If this looks like this is going to stay. Right now, it looks like the core of this, the really dangerous part, is going to stay to the west of Statesville. But if your phone went off, be in that shelter, because these things can tighten up and then turn right, and so we want folks to be just prepared for that possibility by being in that safe place. Stony Point, Statesville. Again, right now, Statesville, nothing really over you, but we want you to be in a safe place. In Newton, we have questions about Newton, and again, Newton, you're getting on the backside of this, but you have another storm on the way. So again, you're not really out of the woods here yet. We've got another thunderstorm with circulation that is. It's got a ways to go before it reaches Newton, but it's closer than it's going to be on a trajectory that's going to be a little bit closer than we like. So again, if you're in Newton, the first storm is departing. There is another round of storms with some heavy rain, by the way, approaching there. So again, we're gonna keep an eye on that. Yadkinville is on the edge of the tornado warning, just outside of the tornado warning polygon for this supercell that's approaching Rhonda now. So if you're in Yadkinville, you got some rain, it looks like we got some thunderstorms beginning to kind of get going over you as I kind of rock this back and forth in motion. Looks like you do have a couple storms that are trying to get going there, but nothing severe here yet. The severe weather is to your west. Now, that being said, I would be keeping an eye on the thunderstorms that we've been talking, the tornado warned thunderstorms that we've been talking about in Catawba County and Alexander County. Again, this kind of axis here is going to be trending eastward with time, and so eventually, places like Statesville, you may get your storm. Yadkinville may certainly get a strong to severe storm, and this is continuing to creep eastward over time. So we have let's see, let me go back to the GSP storm here. Yeah, I'm not surprised by this in the slightest. Let me go back to the analyst here. The ham radio operator was reporting some rotation with this storm at Long Branch Road and Highway 74. So again, this is probably a few minutes ago, but with this circulation here, again, just in the clouds with no sign of any tornado, but clearly this is spinning as the radar indicates here. And same with the storm that's just east of Newton as well in Catawba County, approaching I-40 here in a matter of about 10-15 minutes. So US 70, I-40, strong indication of rotation is approaching. Do not have any signs that anything is down, which is good news. But again, you don't want to bank on that, because again, by the time we see it down on the radar, it's too late. So we want you all to be, prepared for this. We'll do our rotation product, and you'll see here's one bright spot here, one bright area near Newton, and then one bright area in Cleveland County, about to cross into the close to Cherryville in the farthest northwestern parts of Gaston County. Gastonia, you are not in the warning. You may yet get one tonight. But right now, Gastonia, you are not in the warning. So again, we'll keep an eye on this as this gets closer and closer, quite frankly, to the Charlotte metro area. So this is going to be again, this could be a fairly busy night in this neck of the woods here. So let's let me get Claremont area. I have a question about the Claremont area. Yeah, just south of just near Conover, I-40 here. We'll zoom in on this in Claremont. You really should be sheltered at this point. Tilting up, you may have some hail moving in. Here's the circulation. Here's Claremont. This is going to get too close for comfort. Looks like this is going to come between Claremont and Catawba here as it approaches I-40. So again, if you're in any of these areas, we need you to be in a safe place right now. We have a question about upstate South Carolina. Upstate South Carolina, so far, there's still a severe weather threat in upstate South Carolina. Still in a severe thunderstorm watch from about Greenville east. Let me switch to the regional radar real quick, and we can talk about upstate North Carolina here. The main concern at this point is this leading edge is now east of Greenwood here. We're seeing some circulations kind of begin their lives here in the northern northwest parts of South Carolina, and then move into North Carolina and mature and begin to cause tornado warnings. The main concern now for much of upstate South Carolina is flash flooding, and we have numerous flash flood warnings out. Includes the Greenville metro area, Anderson, down to Calhoun Falls, just near Abbeville. A lot of rain has fallen here, and if we look at the last 12 hours, we see radar estimates up to 4 to 5 inches of rain in some spots in this area. So again, flash flooding. We are transitioning to a flash flood event in the upstate of South Carolina. So again, call to action there is do not cross barricades. Turn around, don't drown if you encounter a flooded road. So again, thank you to B Rocket, who's in Cowpens for that. For getting us up for the question there, and we're just having all sorts of fun right now here in the Carolina Weather Group, because this is what we do. Let me see. There is all right until 6:45. It is 6:45. So the northern part of the northern, and we'll get back to Claremont here in just a second. Blacksburg is not the tornado warning in Wilkes and Yadkin has expired, but there's still a rotation here, and I would not be shocked to see them reissue a tornado warning here. So we're going to keep an eye on this, but let's get back to Claremont and Catawba here real quick. Go back to the analyst here. Here's the circulation. Right here, just south of I-70 or Highway 70 and I-40 near Claremont and Catawba. Claremont should, so if you're on 40 headed towards Claremont, I would say pull off for a little bit, because you're kind of running right into it. I would pull off for the next little bit. This was going to be through there here in about 15-20 minutes. So I would say wait. I would say let's wait it out. But Claremont just started pouring, and again, the circulation, you're going to be right in that forward flank of this supercell here. Would not be surprised to see if you got some hail out of this as well. But there's your hook echo right here. And again, we're looking higher up into the storm, so we're not getting as nice of a definition as we might like out of these. But here's your hook echo. Go back to the velocity products, and we'll show you. Here's your circulation right here. Here's your winds away from the radar and winds going towards the radar. We're looking at the radar in GSP. So this is the radar site is to the southwest. And there's a circulation here, a somewhat broad circulation, but a tornado could develop at any time. So the tornado warning for Surrey, Wilkes, and Yadkin has been allowed to expire. The Blacksburg has replaced this, though, with a considerable damage threat, severe thunderstorm warning. So we're going to go back to this real quick. So here is the Wilkes and Yadkin storm. This has kind of a broad rotation, but it looks like it's weakening a little bit. The Weather Service in Blacksburg has opted to go with a large severe thunderstorm warning for this, for 70-mile-an-hour wind gusts. So again, as we like to say here, 70-mile-an-hour winds going straight or twisting, it doesn't really matter all that much. It can still do plenty of damage. So again, straight line winds are the main concern with this cluster of thunderstorms, and occasionally organized supercells moving north of Highway 421, approaching US 21 here in far northern Wilkes County. This also takes in Allegheny County and NC, and this is going to include Mount Airy, Dobson, the severe thunderstorm warning, and Pilot Mountain here. Yeah, this is gonna take y'all in until 7:45. So again, this is for, I want to say that this is Allegheny, Surrey, Wilkes, and Yadkin. So if you're in those areas, Dobson, Mount Airy, Jonesville, get ready. You can have a pretty decent storm on your doorstep. Currently nothing here necessarily rotating, but I also would caution that, looking south into Iredell County near Love Valley, there's a circulation exiting this tornado warning polygon that we'll want to keep an eye on. There's a second broader circulation just to the west of that. I'd be more concerned about the dominant circulation that's closer to I-77 here. See what this does. We will see how the Weather Service responds on it. There's been some updates to the tornado warnings in the Greenville's neck of the woods here. So again, Claremont, Catawba, right now, the main concern is, there's a circulation basically approaching I-40 right between, right in this area. So if you're in Claremont, Catawba, if you're on I-40 and you're approaching this area, I would pull off and I would wait a little bit, let this get out of here. Again, we're getting into some of that purple haze, so to speak, some of that range folding here. So it's making it a little bit harder for us to see where the circulation is, but you can see that donut hole right here. See how that reflectivity is a little bit lower here? We have some yellows as opposed to the reds. That's what we call a bounded weak ecoregion. And what that means is that basically is almost like, if you think about it, it's almost like kind of a little eye-like feature, sort of. It's an area of depressed reflectivity that indicates that the storm is kind of spinning it out of that. So again, that's a really overly simplified version of that, but that's the idea. There is a circulation right on top of Cherryville now. So again, the GSP has continued the tornado warning down here for Cherryville. If you are in Cleveland County, you have no active tornado warnings. So Cleveland County, all clear for now. Again, the threat in Cleveland County is going to transition to more of a heavy rain and flash flood threat here in the next little bit. Right now, the main concern now in northern Gaston County, northwest Gaston County near Cherryville, here's a strong indication of rotation of a circulation here just north of Cherryville. I pulled on the rotation product here, right in the gut of Cherryville right now. It's over Cherryville, moving north at 30. So Lincolnton, Maiden, if you're in these areas, looks like you're next. And I would let me get the storm motions updated, and let me get a little storm track line here. So in the next 15 minutes, you'll be getting close to Lincolnton, getting close to Maiden, Conover, and Newton. I'd be watching this very closely for the potential for another round of severe weather, including a possible tornado that is from a storm that's currently over Cherryville. So keep a close eye on that. So we have 2 tornado warnings in North Carolina ongoing. As I mentioned before, the northern tornado warning that was in Wilkes County has been allowed to expire. It has been replaced with the severe thunderstorm warning for 70-mile-an-hour winds. So again, we don't want to downplay any of that. We have, these storms are, particularly dangerous. Don't want to downplay any of that, but what we try to do here is keep focus on the tornado warnings, as that is the most immediate threat to life and property. And we certainly have, let me get some of the radars reconfigured here so I can show you. We're just kind of in a no man's land right here with some of this here, but we can see we're looking from the Blacksburg radar here. So here's the circulation. It looks like the higher part of the circulation north of 40. Again, the circulation, when you look at circulation on radar, think of it that it will tilt. It stretches down. So the actual circulation is actually closer back to Claremont and Catawba, and then it's a tilted updraft, basically. So again, the readings from Blacksburg here, I think, are not great. You see what happens with this rotation, though, that's just north of Stony Point here. It's exiting the polygon, and so I think so there's going to be some warning decisions to be made to be made here shortly. So again, Maiden and Newton, I would say 30, 45 minutes or so. You have some time, but I would, but you're in multiple tornado warning polygons in Maiden. Newton is just outside of that tornado warning polygon for this Cherryville storm. So again, if you're in that area, we could see this tornado warning extended up. In Cherryville, it's going more towards Lincolnton and away from the Shelby and Waco area. Yeah. So let me zoom in on that real quick, and I can get you a little bit more of an overview. So yeah, Shelby right here. This storm is now to your north, and for what it's worth, I believe in Cleveland County, if you're anywhere in Cleveland County, you're okay. At this point, what I believe is going to happen is that your threat is going to turn into a flash flood threat in Cleveland County. So again, the tornado part is ending. The rain threat is just beginning. I wish I had better news on that front, but that's just the way these things tend to go as time goes on. So let me get just make sure I get right locations here. So Connolly Springs, we have a question about Connolly Springs, and this is between Valdez and Eckerd here. Let me just triangulate the proper thing here. Apologies. I do my best with what I got. Let me. So far, 64, 321. So this kind of this triumvirate here. Yeah, if you're in this area, let me get to the. I can show you from the Greenville radar. I think this is a little better way to go about it. Let me get that up. I think at this point, if you're Valdez, Connolly Springs in this area near Morganton, I think that you are now transitioning to a heavy rain and flash flood threat. So again, the risk for tornadoes is ending there, but or is at least decreasing markedly. But I would say at this point that the main concern is going to be heavy rain and the potential for flash flooding to develop. Again, we have flash flood watches all over the place this evening, and in upstate South Carolina, we're really evolving into a flash flooding situation in the upstate here with numerous flash flood warnings out, including the Greenville metro area as well as Anderson. So yeah, that's going to be so again, that's going to be the second story tonight is the flood threat, and that's going to affect a lot more people. For sure. So we're going to definitely keep an eye on that. We have a train spotter report trees down at Old Post Road and Paul H. Beam Road at the Cleveland and Gaston County line. So again, no indication if a tornado did that or if a strong indication of or if it was just strong straight line winds. But the circulation that has just been over Cherryville is crossing into Lincoln County right now. Let me get. And so we are watching that very closely at the moment. Longview, we've gotten a question about Longview, and again, this is along 321. Let me get zoomed in on that real quick, my friends, and just give me a little patience as I triangulate some of these locations. And unfortunately, sometimes we don't have the locations here. But yeah, here's Longview. You are not in a warning, but you have some very heavy rain approaching. And again, I think your storm threat is beginning to transition more into a heavy rain event and less of a tornadic severe weather event in Longview. So we are definitely not out of the woods by any stretch in Burke County, Caldwell, Alexander. As far as heavy rain goes, I think that's going to be the main concern here as we get through the night. So again, the two tornado warnings that are on the board. So Gaston County, tornado warning for Gaston has been canceled. So this will fall off in a minute. So if you're in Cherryville, coast is clear for tornadic circulations for the moment. Watching, there's another area of rotation though behind it in Cleveland County that might be trying to get going here. So we're going to keep an eye on that. Again, this has been kind of the genesis area for some of these storms to begin to mature. So again, not over yet in places like Gastonia, Mount Holly, Belmont, Sherrills Ford, places that are not under warnings, but could be at some point in the next hour or so. We'll need to keep a very close eye on that. But again, here's your new tornado warning. Lincolnton, you're really very, very much increasingly in the line of fire here. This is very near Krause. and is just passing to the northwest of Krause. This is going to be getting very close to Lincolnton here. This is going to cross Highway 321. Let me get a storm track here. Let me get the storm motion here, and I'll put a little track line on it so we can show you exactly what it's thinking. I wonder if this might be trying to turn right a little bit. So that's something that we're going to watch closely. Yeah, so western Lincoln County right now is the greatest risk for tornadic circulation. And this is going to get close to Maiden. This is going to get close to Newton in about 30 minutes. So may not be done yet in Newton. You got one more round of possible severe weather in Newton. Meanwhile, we have a second circulation. The second circulation that was around Claremont and Catawba has moved north of I-40 now. The surface circulation may be if there is a surface circulation, it may be very much on I-40 at this point. So this is continuing. This is going to continue northeast. Stony Point, between Stony Point and Statesville. Highway 64 between Stony Point and Statesville. Bad idea to travel. We had people asking earlier about traveling towards Claremont on I-40. I am concerned because we have a second circulation that is going to be approaching from the south in about 45 minutes. So again, we'll based on the way that the atmosphere has been configured here and the kind of the longevity of these cells that we've seen, would not shock me to see that circulation survive, that second circulation here that's right now back in Lincoln County. Would not be surprised to see that survive well into Catawba County, crossing over Newton here in a little over a half hour and getting into I-40 in about 45 minutes. So we will watch that. Spotted report of trees down blocking the road at Shoal Creek Road and Mount Sinai Church Road in Cleveland County. So yeah, and that may be from the storm that came through Cherryville earlier. Again, we have just some broad areas of rotation behind that too. A little bit of a notch. See a couple little notches here on the reflectivity south of Kings Mountain, and another one near Cherryville, although it's certainly not as well defined as the one that just came through there. Mountain View. All right, let's see how things are going in Mountain View. So again, yeah. So again, anywhere that's south of 40 and west of 321, and yeah, so Mountain View. Yeah, you just kind of in the. And unfortunately, I can't get it. Oh, there it is. Okay, cool. I had to zoom in a few times, but I got it here. You're not in any warnings in Mountain View. You have some heavy rain on your doorstep. I don't see any immediate signs of any danger from severe weather here in Mountain View. But again, it's very, very heavy rain about ready to move into Mountain View right now. So the tornado warning for Catawba County has been canceled, at least on the lead storm here. And we're going to have to switch to Blacksburg in order to see this one. So again, we're kind of bouncing back and forth. You can see that donut hole there. Here's your circulation. This first circulation has exited, crossed north of I-40. Claremont, Catawba, for the moment, you're okay, but there is a second storm coming in behind you. And we need to keep a very close eye on that as time goes. So again, here's a second one too, and I wouldn't be surprised to see this. This looks like this might be tightening up just near Love Valley. So if you're near Love Valley right now, west of 77, I would we're going to keep a close eye on that because that might end up getting going here. Yeah, so this may get very close to Love Valley. We'll see if this organizes enough to where that a tornado warning would be possible. Here's a second circulation, perhaps not nearly as organized, at least from the Blacksburg view, kind of riding the Iredell and Alexander line right now, headed towards Stony Point. Again, this is the one that was in Claremont and Conover. You're catching a break there, but we have another one on your doorstep in Lincolnton. So we're definitely going to continue to keep an eye on that. And we're bouncing around like a pinball. Just a pinball, just ruthlessly banging around, and I just feel like it's going to tilt at some point. Future weather for York and Clover areas of South Carolina. So again, let's talk about that. Here's York. Here's York County here. You're still in it. and actually, this is a good time for us to kind of to show you all kind of what we're up against here as far as like watches and warnings go. Let's go to the regional view, and you're still under a severe thunderstorm watch, and really in York and Clover, you are going to you're going to begin to see these storms are starting to move in, getting a little bit closer. So for the next couple hours, you're going to want to you're certainly going to want to be on your guard. Again, you're under severe thunderstorm watch, but we have seen tornadic circulations at times. Going to bring in James Brierton here, as joining us from New York. James, it's a little busy.
Yeah, you guys have been holding down the fort as yet again we're dealing with another severe weather day in the Carolinas, and appreciate everyone joining us as we continue to track each one of these different cells. We got the threat today, and then we got the threat tomorrow as well.
Yep, absolutely. And I am hearing, well, this is a unconfirmed reports of a tornado down.
It looks like Iredell County.
Yeah.
This particular.
Unconfirmed. Now, so there's your circulation right there. Again, it's kind of right in that line, and we do not have a good look at this.
No. This is a hard radar spot. This is also Stony Point is an area where we had a tornado. I guess it was about a year back. We had a tornado on the ground here. It's a fairly rural area. There is an airport not too far from there in the Statesville area as well too. I don't know if that would be manned with any additional observations, but I also saw there was a question about what about that circulation near Love Valley. That's Ida watching on YouTube. It's not warned right now, but as you can see, we're definitely watching that rotation. Jared's got highlighted there.
It looks better than the one that has the warning on it right now, to be completely honest with you.
Well, there's been a couple times today where behind the scenes watching, it's interesting to see what the Weather Service is warning and what they're not warning. This is their game, right? But it's because of those radar signatures, right? We're so high up at the radar at this point that seeing rotation here, it's hard to know what's happening at the ground, and that's where those Skywarn spotters really come in.
Yep, absolutely. Oh man! So again, just to catch everybody up, another severe weather day in the Carolinas. Yay! Yep. It's been a busy day for sure, and it continues to be as we get into the really just past 7 o'clock here. Jared Smith, James Brierton here with you on the Carolina Weather Group in continuous severe weather coverage for the ongoing tornado warnings, and it's just another busy day. It's just another busy day here in the Carolinas. So again, 2 tornado warnings ongoing, one in Lincoln County and Catawba County, in the southern part of Catawba County, Maiden and Lincolnton here. There's a second tornado warning ongoing near Statesville. There is a strong circulation that is approaching the Iredell and Wilkes and Yadkin border, the county line there. This is honestly one of the more impressive signatures I've seen recently. Yeah. Tilting up, it's we'll see what they end up doing here. This is about ready to cross into Blacksburg's territory, so we're going to want to watch that closely.
And we're not the only ones who've noticed it. I just noticed a question that went into the Weather Service to ask about Love Valley as well too, because there's the ham radio operators in Iredell County are reporting trees down on Friendship Road, which, if I'm not mistaken, is in this area. I will look up Friendship Road for us, Jared. But if I recall from previous tornado coverage in this area, I think Friendship Road is in this Love Valley area. I'm checking right now. Okay. Yeah, so Friendship Road is north of Statesville, and I'm trying to find Love Valley on the map. Yeah, Love Valley is Friendship Road. So we have reports now of trees down in that area, which could be a precursor to indicate.
Yep, new tornado warning.
There it is.
So, yep. So new polygon now includes Love Valley, but is also really looks like they're warning on the. It looks like they've got a warning for 2 storms here.
This is a weird technicality. So here's what we want to tell you, folks. If you're in Love Valley, seek shelter. Go to the sturdy level of a building, lowest level between many walls between you and the outside world as possible, because it's unclear from this polygon whether they're warning for one storm or two. It doesn't really make a difference. But what I'm curious about is whether or not they're going to do another polygon further north, because lo and behold, this thing's going to be out of Love Valley in 5 minutes.
Yeah,
And it's going to become Roanoke's problem, right? National Weather Service out of Roanoke's going to have to tap in here.
yeah, Blacksburg's going to have to deal with that. Oh, yeah. I mean, it's tightening up very. I mean, this is tightening up really well. I'm looking at a different source of radar here, and it's really starting to. We're getting some pretty good. We got about 80, 90 knots of shear on that bad boy. So I would not be surprised to see them begin to warn this a little further north. So if you're in Jonesville, Boonville, you're under a severe thunderstorm warning. I would say get ready for the potential for a tornado warning here in a matter of minutes. This is clearly getting very well defined. Love Valley, it's actually leaving Love Valley.
Right. Love Valley, that particular rotation's gone. We do still have the tornadic rotation to your south. I mean, it's Wilkes and Surrey County, if I'm not mistaken. That feels to me like they're going to be next under the gun.
Yeah, agreed. You have Wilkes, Yadkin getting into Surrey. Yeah, I tend to agree. But the new warning is for the storm near Statesville. Is for this storm, this rotation that's crossing Highway 64 right now. And again, I'm looking a little higher than I'd like on that. Let me switch to the other source of information. When I get to the other source of radar here, when I get to GSP, we're in purple haze. So there's not really much I can show you on that. So we're going to stick with Blacksburg for now.
I will say the terminal Doppler radar will have for just another hair longer because it's back out of that blind spot now. The rotation was in the blind spot. That happens because of a water tower there to the north and west, but now that rotation's back clear of that again.
Okay, yeah, I'm pulling that up on another source here.
It's not going to help with the Love Valley rotation.
No, certainly not. I've got it on another source here, another source of radar data right now, and Stony Point, Scots looks like. That rotation is getting very close there right now. I can't imagine that Blacksburg is not going to warn on this. You have some very strong gate-to-gate shear, and unfortunately, with the beam depolarization, I can't really adequately tell if there is any sign of debris being lofted here. If there's one good piece of good news is that we're getting closer to the radar. And we're going to be able to look down a little bit. Let's get back to our Lincoln storm real quick. We got a couple. Yeah. We've got multiple thunderstorms causing problems here. And again, this is starting to get close to Gastonia. And so we're going to watch that closely.
I would say even south of where that actual polygon is, right over I-85, coming into Dallas, Kings Mountain, Bessemer City. Tim Pounds, if you're watching, I don't know, that area is at least for strong winds.
Yeah, agreed. And again, it looks like there's
and hail.
It looks like there might be like a little outflow boundary right here. Looks like this is the nerdiest product. They do not show that product on TV, by the way. That's the spectrum width, and we will not get into spectrum width today on this broadcast. But we have a question about Taylorsville. The severe weather is to the east of you in Taylorsville. You are no longer under a severe thunderstorm warning in Taylorsville. Your threat is going to transition to a flash flood threat. Very heavy rain, another big rounds of heavy rain moving through Burke and Caldwell now, and going to be moving into Alexander. But the severe weather threat in Alexander County is to the east of you in Taylorsville. And again, we're just in that haze right now. But if there's a rotation there, if there's a circulation there, it's right around Stony Point. And based off the terminal Doppler that I'm looking at in a different source of data here, that is certainly a possibility. What I'm going to do, James, is I'm going to
I can help. Yeah, while you work on that, I will say Charmec, the consolidated emergency management for both Charlotte and Mecklenburg County, just put out a notice to residents who have signed up for the emergency notifications there, letting folks know again that the National Weather Service out of Greenville, Spartanburg has issued a number of tornado warnings to the west of Charlotte. And as weather continues to move through the area for the next several hours, please remain weather aware and follow local media. So the officials in Mecklenburg County reminding officials right now that there's no storms in Mecklenburg County, but they're downstream, right? They're off to the left on the map. They're west. And so they're letting folks know there in the Queen City to kind of keep a heads up.
Yeah, absolutely. And so I've got I've got a second view here. I'm gonna key myself in. I promise. Give me just a second here as I just do a little live editing. All right, so I'm back. We're looking at the terminal Doppler here out of Charlotte, and a couple things to point out. Stony Point here is the rotation around Stony Point, right there, and the second circulation near Lincolnton, right here. Nice thing about this radar is that this looks very close to the ground, and we can get a really good look at it. And we also get 1 minute updates, which is very helpful. So, a couple things to note is that looks like that circulation is organizing a little bit better. We've seen a little peak of you see the lightning strikes beginning to peak up a little bit more here. So that certainly is something that I would be watching very closely near Lincolnton, to the west of Lincolnton. That is around Highway 27. Right here, you can see that rotational signature ongoing. So, James, we have a new tornado warning now.
Yeah, back to the north.
Back to the north. We have a new tornado warning around Jonesville. So this is
Surrey,
Love Valley.
Wilkes, and Yakin. We know the ones we
Yep.
gave heads up to a few minutes ago that this was coming your way. The Weather Service is making it official now.
Yep, absolutely. And so this rotation is headed towards 421. Let's see if we can't get a few locations in that. And looking at the terminal, by the way, that rotation near Stony Point is definitely trying to strengthen. So want to keep a close eye on that one as well. But yeah, looking at the new warning here. Let me. Whoa! Don't want to do that. Is it 7? Yeah, I'm just trying to get some locations for you guys. On here. So Buck Shoals, I think Buck Shoals, Brooks Crossroads, Swan Creek. If you're in any of those areas, I think that's my primary area of concern for y'all right now. That's certainly a we have some lightning peaking up here. We have
Elkin,
circulation
Fairview,
right here.
Jonesville, Boonville, Rhonda, Windy Gap, Buck Shoals. I think you mentioned most of those, but I figured I'd rattle those off there for you.
Yeah, for sure. And so there's your circulation right here again, and we have another new tornado warning.
Yeah, right. This one is now for Alexander, Catawba, Iredell counties, and this is for the storm that is located about 6 miles southwest of Newton or near Maiden.
Yes, and so let's get on that one. Now we just had, we had a question from Taylorsville come in, and they did draw Taylorsville into the warning on this. So if you are in Taylorsville, we're going to advise that again, I suspect that this is going to stay to your east, but out of respect for the polygon and the warning here, I would say in Taylorsville, go ahead and take shelter. Maiden, Newton, Conover. This is really headed right at you. I wish there was a better way that I could put that, but if you're in these areas, this is here's your circulation. Newton, Conover. Zoom out a little bit. Claremont. This is going to have another round here. Unfortunately, this is going to get close to you again. We were talking about this earlier. As the one circulation left, as the one storm left, the other was coming back, and it looks like this is the case right now. It's very close to crossing Highway 321 in southern Catawba County. We have a new severe thunderstorm warning for Gastonia, so for straight line winds. So we'll update that here in a few minutes. But again, 321, business 321 near Maiden. At this point, the call to action here is to be in the lowest floor of a site-built structure. This is going to head towards Stony Point in about 30, 35, 40 minutes. And this could be, if it holds up, it could get to Love Valley. So again, so here's circulation right now. Immediate call to action: Newton, Conover, Claremont. I would say that you are most in line for this, and we want you all to be taking shelter right away.
We're going to be coming through the I-77 corridor. We're going to be coming through the I-40 corridor. If you know anybody who normally commutes, is traveling, got the Memorial Day weekend coming up, give them a call, give them a text, let them know about this. They may not know about it as they're driving. Send them a link to our video so that we can narrate through what's happening. And Jared's zooming in right now in the area we were looking at a few moments ago for at least the potential of damaging wind and the possibility that it could rotate here in the next little
Mhm.
bit. This is that area that was just to the west of Gastonia over 85, Kings Mountain, Bessemer City. It's going to be coming up along 321, another very popular road for commuters and for people who might be traveling to the mountains this weekend. Give them a call if you got somebody along 85 in the Charlotte area or along 321 between Gastonia and Hickory. Jared, what are you seeing on radar there?
Yeah, James, and the one thing we haven't mentioned here is hail. Let's turn on the max hail product here. A quarter size hail certainly possible in Bessemer City. Um, right now we have a little bit of hail. We have some hail cores showing up here. A pretty good looking hail core. When it starts going black, that's when we know we got trouble. So there could be some hail falling from this as well. So it's not just the wind; it's the hail here right now in Bessemer City, getting close to Gastonia. Gastonia, I think the areas that I'm watching for you are still in South Carolina. Um, that might be noise there, but there are some storms that have that look a little bit near Smyrna, just to the west of Clover here, and these are going to be tracking into North Carolina over the next 30 minutes. So again, Gastonia, this storm may just miss you, but you have more to your southwest that's on the way here. So we've been asked for an update on Claremont, and again, Claremont, you really should be taking shelter at this point. If you're in Claremont, take shelter from a circulation that's near Maiden. It's going to be in Claremont in the next about 15-20 minutes or so. So if you're in that area, again, you got that tornado warning to take shelter. I would say let's go ahead and let's get into that shelter and get you to a safe place.
That shelter is going to be a sturdy structure, lowest level, as many walls between you and the outside world as possible. And we have a question about Surrey County as well in the Elkin area. And I know Surrey County is in this polygon. And so, I would say all of these areas right now, Wilkes, Surrey, think about getting your shoes on, maybe finding a helmet, grabbing a pillow off the couch, because when you get to that safe place, you do want to be able to protect your body and you want to be able to then come back out, right? We have reports now coming out of Iredell County of trees down on homes. And so you have to imagine that if you found yourself, unfortunately, in that scenario, you're going to come back out of your safe place, possibly dealing with splintered wood, glass, and other items. So put those shoes on, find those shoes, and have them ready.
Yeah, and again, just peeking around at all the different radar products here. Let me switch back to the local here. So
I'll watch the terminal for you.
Yeah, so here's a circulation that's right near Buck Shoals right now. As I'm looking from Blacksburg. Yeah, so this is right on the county line here. This is very near Buck Shoals. Is this a storm relative? Yeah. So yeah, right near Buck Shoals here, we have some pretty strong inbounds, 40, 50, 60 miles an hour around this. But this may be RFD. The tornadic circulation may be right here. It could be just into Wilkes County right here. Actually, no, that's the toward, that's the away, and then we have another toward. So I mean, we may have
twins.
It's definitely it's definitely a pretty tightly wound thing, and again, that kind of tells us that these winds going toward maybe helping to shape this guy. Again, not the prettiest supercell you're ever going to look at by any stretch.
It's the Carolinas. You're not going to look at it anyway. There's too many trees and rain showers.
Too many trees. Yeah, that's a good point. And I think the other thing to call out here, folks, is that this is going to be rain wrapped. This is going to be fully wrapped in rain. You're not going to be able to see any tornado. You're not going to be seeing anything there. And that is so again, the most important thing that you can do, if you've got that warning on your phone, go ahead and take shelter in that and the safe place that James just described. Report of heavy rain and hail and heavy rain from Angeline Jans on Facebook near Catawba County Country Club. Thank you for that report. That sounds about right. So again, we are we're definitely going to see, we're kind of dealing with all hazards here today with the tornado and hail threat. I think right now, let me see if there's anything. The terminal's not looking as impressive. I'm just taking a quick peek at that.
No, I'm looking at Newton right now on the terminal, and the rotation is kind of strung out, but still strong winds. So, wind is wind. So whether it's rotating in a column, yep, that's the exact spot I was looking at. Thank you. If you could, yep, it's not the tightest of rotation. It's there, but
Yeah.
but again, a good gust of wind can take a tree down. You don't need a tornado, and so damage could still occur in this circulation we're watching here, just south of I-40, near Newton, coming towards Conover, and then it's going to probably clip the side of Claremont.
Yeah. And again, here's how that wind works. No, actually, that's not how that wind works. I'm a moron.
It
Oh,
rotates.
well, you know what? I think the circulation is actually in purple haze, to be honest with you.
Well, and then we're going to have, there's that blind spot I mentioned earlier. There's actually a water tower that's too close to this terminal Doppler radar, and so we get no data. So
yeah, let me go back to the other source of radar here, and so oh, mercy.
And by the way, not to go on a radar rant, but no one has data there. It's not just Jared and I. We're all, whether you're watching television or the Weather Service, it's the same radar information, and this is just yet again one of those areas where coverage is less than ideal.
Yeah, and I will say though that we were looking at this on the terminal, and now we're seeing, and I'm looking at this now on the 88D, the radar out of Greenville, and it certainly looks like this is transitioning to be more of a straight line wind issue.
Right.
I'm going to put on the rotation product here, and you can see there's really not much to write home about. Now, I mean, there's certainly the potential for large hail in this, but if we look at that rotation product, it's not those bright greens, it's not the reds coming in. So that's some potential good news there. I mean, it's certainly not a let your guard down kind of thing, because again, this could tighten back up and spin up at a moment's notice. You're still in a tornado warning. That circulation is right around Newton right now. If there is a circulation there, and it looks like on that next scan, it got a little bit tighter.
If it was me and I was in Claremont, I'd still be in my safe place.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, Claremont, you should be in your safe place. Catawba, really close, you should be in your safe place. Conover, be in your safe place again. This is the time to suspend any travel roughly from on I-40 around from 321, really up towards Statesville. Honestly, really up to 77, the 77 interchange. I would not be traveling on I-40 if I could help it. I'd be looking for a place to pull off, because that's in a no good spot.
Weather Service has continued the one tornado warning for Surrey, Wilkes, and Yadkin counties. This is for that thunderstorm capable of producing a tornado that's located right over Swan Creek. It's also near Jonesville, moving northeast at 30 miles an hour.
All right. So, that sounds about right. And again, Newton, there's a couple things here. Here's that inflow notch right here in Newton. And you're probably getting some hail there in Newton right now as well. And this is about to cross I-40. I'm going to take a bigger picture real quick, because we've got, there's just so much weather happening right now, unfortunately. And, again, we have a severe thunderstorm watch here that includes the Charlotte metro area until 10 o'clock. This has been trimmed back some since it was initially issued. As this main line of thunderstorms continues to push east, so will the severe weather threat. And so we'll keep an eye on that for you.
What's interesting, Jared, is I just switched to Columbia for a moment to try to look at the cells that are over 85 coming into Gaston County again, because that Columbia radar gives us the full power of the 88D without having to penetrate the rain from Greenville, Spartanburg behind it. And there's nothing too telling yet, but you can actually start to see, because we're watching these kinks, these are almost individual cells here in this line. The Columbia perspective was showing what we would be expecting and watching for in these individuals in these individual storms. I just thought that was kind of changing that perspective a little.
Yeah, absolutely. And and again, the good news is that we do have multiple radars to choose from here. The greater risk for severe weather is going to be within that severe thunderstorm watch. But again, we have 3 tornado warnings ongoing. We have one in Catawba County. We have a second one for Iredell and Alexander. We have a third one here for Yadkin and Wilkes County. Let me switch to Blacksburg real quick, and we can talk about the Yadkin County storm, because this one is still looking rather impressive. Here, this is looking from Blacksburg. So there's your circulation right there. Green is toward, red is away. And there's your tornadic circulation. Just crossed Highway 421. Looks like it's about ready to get right over I-77 here. Here's I-77. Here's Highway 21, US Highway 21. This is going to get very close to Jonesville, Boonville, Yadkinville. You are not in the warning. This is right now to your east. But again, if you're in Yadkinville, don't let your guard down, because there are more storms headed your way from the southwest, and we're going to need to keep a close eye on those as they certainly could become severe. Again, you see the lightning strikes, and then you see the drop in CC, which leads me to believe that there is some depolarization happening with the beam here, and I can kind of circulate through some of the products to confirm that. But here's your hook echo. There's your rotational signature right here. Pretty tight looking rotational signature. One of the better ones we've seen today. Just crossed Highway 421, approaching US 21 now. In Yadkin County.
And say what you want about that circulation we were watching back in Catawba County near the towns of Newton, Claremont, and Catawba. The Weather Service has continued that tornado warning. Mm-hmm. So that is still actively on the board. They just continued it moments ago.
Yeah. So again, and we noticed some evidence of that, trying to tighten up. So we now have reports of roads flooding between Hickory and Conover. So there's that second threat starting to work its way in. Mm-hmm. Between Hickory and Conover. We're beginning to see that that circulation, or not the circulation, the flash flood threat begin to become a real problem there as well. So again, Jonesville, Boonville, I-77 really between, it's not really a good landmark there, but I-77 roughly around Dobson and I think this is 74. Yeah. And this is, that's horribly incomplete. I have to yell at somebody about that, but but there's your circulation there. It's about ready to cross I-77 and Highway 21, just south of Jonesville. So this looks like the circulation might split the difference between Jonesville and Boonville. But again, anybody who is in this tornado warning polygon should be in shelter. We have a second tornado warning ongoing. This one's certainly looking a little less defined in Iredell County, but around Love Valley right now, if there is a circulation, it's there. Here's your reflectivity. Again, it's not looking all that great. Looks like, if anything, it's becoming a little bit more dominated by outflow. That would be a good thing. That's as far as the tornado threat. Obviously, we still run the risk of damaging wind gusts, but it's a very broad-looking circulation from here. I'll pan back to GSP real quick, and GSP, I'm just looking at that off screen, and there's nothing there that indicates anything different. So again, Love Valley. I wonder if okay, well, wait a second now before I go calling people good. This tiny little area rotation right here looks like it's trying to organize. You can see a little bit of a hook trying to get going here.
It's right on the southern side of that storm too, so it'll give it that advantage. Speaking of Love Valley, I joined you about half an hour ago, top of 7 o'clock hour here. We were discussing Love Valley at that time, had the rotation that has now moved off to the north. A local storm report has just come out from the Weather Service via emergency management that at 7 o'clock there was a tornado on the ground near Love Valley. So that cell is now further north, right? But that confirmed what we were kind of looking at half an hour ago, and it continues to verify our thinking about what the atmosphere is like.
And that, I don't believe there was a warning on that at the time.
I was wondering that, but being that there's so many warnings happening now on top of each other, it's kind of hard to know right now which rotation they mean.
Yeah, you have to really.
We'd have to go back to 7 o'clock. We'd have to look at the velocity, and we'd have to look at the state of the polygons.
Well, let's do that. We can do that. Totally do that. So here's here's that
the
tornado.
Emergency manager, and while Jared does that, the emergency manager in Catawba County is telling us they got penny-sized hail and very heavy rain right now at the government building in Newton, and we have a structure collapse just reported in Love Valley, Iredell County. Emergency management at 7:07 is reporting a structure collapse about 3 miles east southeast of Love Valley. This is very close, Jared, to
Yeah.
where the tornado local storm report was. It definitely seems at about the 7 o'clock hour, we had a tornado on the ground in Love
Yeah, and
Valley.
these were the scans coming in from about 6:56, 6:58, 7 o'clock right here. Yeah, this is that one that we called out, and I'm glad we did. I'm very glad we called this one out. This is a severe thunderstorm warning in Love Valley with a tornado possible tag, and yeah, and that it certainly looks like that got down. And that storm, that heritage of that storm is now, that it continues northeast, northeast onto I-77 as we speak, south of Jonesville and Boonville. So again, this has had a definitely a history here, and I just realized that I wasn't showing you what I was looking at. I apologize here, but yeah, so this is 7 o'clock right here at Love Valley. There's your circulation.
Yeah,
I'll step it back a couple frames here, and yeah, this is when it was really at its peak.
I don't want to say it, but I don't think that was warned.
Yeah, I don't have a good feeling about that, unfortunately. But what's happened has happened, and we'll continue to relay any reports that we get. In the meantime,
we should tell people that cell is still tornado warned right now. Yep. We do not know whether or not it's still on the ground, but the storm structure continues to indicate that storm that produced a tornado half an hour ago is still rotating.
Yep, absolutely. And it's right over I-77 right now, north of 421, running parallel to US 21, south of Jonesville. Let me do a couple other things here real quick so I can, properly get some additional bearings here. This is very near Swan Creek right now. This is very near there. It's just headed towards Birch, Crutchfield, Fairview, at the edge of the polygon here. So that's those are some locations that we'll need to be keeping an eye on this. And places to the west of the tornado could see some hail. We have some purple spots here that would be indicative of at least some small hail being within the storm here. And again, I'm just keeping my head on a swivel with this stuff because
I'm watching down south. You're good.
Yeah, so that we're keeping our eyes and ears on this. James is looking from his vantage point here. I'm also taking a quick peek at the terminal. I'm going to switch to the terminal for a second, and we'll take a look at the this is near Conover and Claremont here. This is looking much lower into the storm, about 1,000 feet into the storm. And again, if there's anything, there's your away, there's your towards. But again, we're getting into the danger zone, right? This is there's
I understand why it's warned, because it's uncertain. There's enough there that would raise alarm for me too.
Yeah. So again, the Weather Service continuing the tornado warning there. Let me switch to GSP and get that out of the way. So let's switch to GSP real quick. And again, there's your circulation right there. Another circulation crossing I-40 at Conover and Claremont right now.
Yeah, so we have a new ham radio report. Train spotter in that location, East Maiden Road and Buffalo Shoals Road in Catawba County. The Maiden area reports seeing rotation in the clouds. So that ground truth is ultra critical in an area where the radar coverage is less than ideal. Yeah,
we have an emergency manager spotter report as well in the same area. So again, right now Claremont, it's in the clouds. Again, note that we did not say that it was down, but again, this is the kind of thing where that could change like that. I mean, that's you just snap your fingers and you can have something down. So again, crossing the broad rotation crossing I-40 here, really good ground truth from train spotters. Again, that is, radar is good to a point, but the human element is so critical. We want to keep an eye on that very closely. We're going to be watching all of these storm reports very closely as they start to roll in.
I want to point this question out real fast without getting too detoured. Is it going to be like this the rest of the night in Hickory? It's going to be like this for a little while longer, yes. There will be a break ahead of another threat tomorrow. But if I just punch up real fast our future cast to kind of let people know what they can expect as we continue on, here is right about present time, and you can see we still have scattered storms. I mean, Jared, it's this line we're watching right now is going to be parked along I-77 for hours to come, followed by more storms back behind it. There will be a break during the early morning hours tomorrow before potentially we get into. I mean, first of all, when I'm saying break, I'm just like blinders right now in eastern North Carolina where the current action is, but you can see that there's still some intense storms heading off to the east there. So as we go through tomorrow, right, there will be a break, and then there's going to be another round for Hickory later tomorrow. So I mean, I think everyone's kind of in play here. Stay on your toes for the next 36 hours.
Yeah, and again, if flooding is going to be a problem because you got a lot of rain parked with a very slow moving cold front. That cold front has no designs on going anywhere fast, and that is going to certainly be an issue that we're going to need to contend with over time. So yeah, James, I'm continuing to just keep an eye on all the things here. We have a broad rotation. I mean, this is a decent looking rotation. Getting north of 40 now, and again, if we kind of keep in mind that. If we keep in mind that we've got it's tilted a little bit, we could have that rotation. If there is a rotation down, it would be really right over I-40 right now. So far, no. Weather Service is trying to get some flooding reports as well.
I can take a look at gauges in a minute.
Yeah, we'll do that. So, James, you've got the. What we're gonna do is. I'm gonna step out for a second, and have James take over, looking at radar for this area. I'm gonna step right back out. What I'm gonna do, I'm gonna keep my screen going so we can see. Here's the wide angle here. So I'm just gonna keep that there. That'll update with the new stuff. And let me actually switch the infrared there, and I'll go to regional. So you can keep that in the background as we watch this, James, and you can look at some of the more. Some of the finer things in life. So, yeah. So
we'll see you again in a few minutes, Jared.
Yep.
All right, that's Jared Smith. I'm James Brierton. You're continuing to watch severe weather coverage streaming to you right now from the Carolina Weather Group. We'll go pop up on my radar on the screen. It is a little bit different than Jared, so my apology for that. But we do have fresh in from the Weather Service right now a new tornado warning, although it's not going to feel new because it's in so much to the same area we've just been hanging out in for a while now. Surrey and Wilkes and Yadkin County until 8:30. This is near Arlington, or again near Jonesville, moving north at 30 miles an hour. So if we switch our radar view to look from Blacksburg, from Roanoke, I think we're going to be talking right on in here. And a couple areas of rotation, right? So we've this polygon. Where's our newest polygon here? I don't think it's actually shown up yet on this board. So we're watching right now between Elkin and Boonville, the rotation that is moving up towards Dobson and towards White Plains. And then our Love Valley area, we're watching high level rotation right on in here again near Love Valley and near Harmony. That's going to be kind of tailing that first storm. So this is all going to slide kind of between North Wilkesboro and Yadkinville over the next half an hour or so. So if you know anybody in these areas, go ahead, give them a call, advise them to get to their safe place as we're continuing to watch that threat come on through. We do also have in yellow the severe thunderstorm warning, and there is a threat for damaging winds associated with that. I'm going to go ahead and turn off a couple things on here to make this screen a little less crowded for you. But you can see now the radar system has outlined what I was explaining moments ago, which is good because you can see that the threat for the rotation right now over Elkin and over Boonville is going to continue, as we mentioned, towards Dobson, towards White Plains, towards Mount Airy. And this is going to be to the west of Pilot Mountain as we head on through the next half an hour or so. So this is the area right now of concern associated with a severe thunderstorm capable of producing a tornado. You can see I have the rotation circled there, and it's going to be right now kind of square between Elkin and really near Jonesville and Arlington. And this is going to be continuing off to the north over the next half an hour at 30 miles an hour. A safe place again is the low sturdy structure. That's a site-built home. That means you want to downstairs, as far down the building as you can go, and as most interior as you can go, with as many walls between you and the outside world as possible. We're going to watch very closely what the Weather Service may decide to do with the rotation again that's coming out of Love Valley, because this is going to be coming up to the north, trailing that storm we were talking about a moment ago. But you'll notice right now there is no tornado warning in this space. But with all of these storms rotating and training over the same area right now, I would really advise you that if you live between Love Valley and Jonesville, go ahead and seek shelter. It never hurts to be in that safe place when there's any question of uncertainty. And that's kind of what we have going on right now. What we're looking at on the left-hand side of the screen, this is radar, as many of you are probably used to looking at it, because it's going to show the intensity of rain. That's called reflectivity. But there's just a little notch there on the left-hand side that correlates to what we're looking at on the right-hand side. The right-hand side is the winds. That's called velocity. And we can see the rotation very easily with velocity, but we can see there's just a little bit of an area on the left here where the red turns back to yellow, because that actually is showing a little bit of an intake. You can kind of see it on the storm up here to the north as well too. Not as clearly in this area where the radar is not the greatest. But that's one of the things we look at when we're comparing these two products side by side. Again, it was just 45 minutes ago that we had a tornado on the ground in Love Valley. So the folks of Love Valley and adjacent communities right now are possibly dealing with another tornado, possible tornado on the ground, alongside of damage they have from the first tornado that came on through. So that could be hindering communication. That could be hindering emergency vehicles. As Jared mentioned, flooding is a concern as well too. So there could be the possibility that flooding could occur caused by fallen trees that could potentially act as dams and so forth. So we're going to have to keep a close eye on these areas. But essentially, we have right now tornado warnings that extend all the way from Iredell County up through for the next 45 minutes, Surrey, Wilkes, and Yadkin counties. I'm going to switch screens here, take a look at some of your comments that are coming in as you're watching us on Facebook, on YouTube, and we're seeing right now, sure enough, Elkin is in the midst of this. And we have a question about Claremont. So let's go there and talk a little bit more about when we think that's going to be in the clear. So I'm going to use the terminal Doppler radar for that, because if I've got my bearings right, Claremont was back in here, right? Yep, sure enough. There it is. And so right now we still have a little rotation to the north of Claremont, pea-sized hail coming in with this. This particular area is still under a tornado warning, because we're looking at this rotation right on in here between Claremont and Stony Point. But notice this big black area. We have no radar data that comes in there. Literally, we're just blinded. There is a physical structure in the way of the radar. So while this potential area of rotation is now north of I-40, we do still have that tornado warning in effect for Claremont for a little while longer. This goes for another 14 minutes. The threat is moving off to the north. And again, it's moving towards Stony Point. It's moving towards, yet again, Love Valley. And so we kind of have this training of tornadic supercells that are moving over the same area over and over again. The other thing I've been keeping an eye on is these storms that are now heading back into the greater Charlotte area, still off to the west here. But I'm noticing in high shoals, we've got high winds coming in. The terminal Doppler radar here, about 35 miles an hour, heavy rain, lots of lightning. And this is an area we're going to have to watch, because if you look on the left, we still have every one of these little kinks is a potential area that the thunderstorm could try to spin something up. Nothing right now is jumping out to me as a high level of urgency, but that's where the potential is going to be for those communities and the communities off to the east as we move on through the next little bit. Just kind of scanning this whole line, giving you a little perspective so we don't get too locked into one particular area. We do have thunderstorms in South Carolina. Nothing right now that I feel like warrants our attention because it's the I-77 corridor in North Carolina that either has active tornado warnings or has the potential. And you can see even here back again, Gaston County, Lincoln County, southern Catawba County, portions of Iredell County, you have this severe thunderstorm warning for the threat of hail and wind for the next 10 minutes and probably longer if they extend it. You don't need a tornado in order to have damage. Wind is wind, whether it's going to hit you straight line winds or in a tornadic function. We got Jared Smith back with us, and welcome back, Jared. We're continuing to watch the same areas. It's deja vu.
I'm sure we can clear Catawba County from the tornado warning. So Weather Service and GSP has Greenville, Spartanburg has cleared Catawba County from the tornado warning. So right now, the main concern here is going to be south is approaching Stony Point. Is that like a wow? That's that's anticyclonic. Wow, that's an anticyclonic couplet here. Don't see that very often here. That's interesting. This guy right here. Here's the winds going towards the radar, and here's the winds going. It's well, that's fascinating. I wonder if that's either noise or if that's really an anticyclonic. Wow, seeing it all today. I feel like, but the cyclonic circulation, the one that we were most concerned about. Has just crossed into southern tip of Alexander County. And Stony Point, you're next up for it. It's going to cross 64 and 64 business here in the next 10 minutes or so. And meanwhile, in Stony Point, you're going to be getting some very heavy rain. But again, Claremont, you're still in a severe thunderstorm warning, but I know we've had questions about that. When is that going to be clear? But it looks like the tornado threat there. The good news is that it looks like your tornado threat is coming to an end. We're now seeing the leading edge of this line very slowly. And again, slow is the word here today, folks. Very slowly moving to the east. As this leading edge of this line clears your area, the severe weather threat will begin to diminish. But unfortunately, the flooding threat starts to creep way up. So we trade one for the other here. And I don't think it's a very fair trade, truth be told. It's like James, I'm going to trade you oh god, who are two notoriously terrible players? James, I'm going to trade you a Jamarcus Russell for an Akili Smith, and you have to be in a football card, so you have to be of a certain
None
age.
of those words mean anything to me.
Exactly. Two major NFL busts. So
to be fair, most NFL players I wouldn't be able to identify. Sports goes whoop right over my head.
Yep. Oh, it was like, who? A Bill Buckner for it.
So, Jared.
Yeah.
What do you make of the rotation that's not worn north of Love Valley? He says again.
Yeah, this is a. Let me look at the reflectivity here. Yeah, that's that's got a pretty good hail core there. I wouldn't be surprised if that was beginning to spin up a little bit. I've got a couple. Again, I got a couple different sources of radar here that I can use to help.
None of them are great, but we have a couple.
Yeah, exactly, and and that's. I mean, this is. Let me switch to this. You can see. So here's what we're talking about. Right here, I'm circling it south of 421. I wonder if there's some contamination happening here, James. If I don't know if we got a little side lobe contamination happening here. That's certainly a possibility. Sometimes you get some weird echoes at the edge of these storms, and that can kind of throw things off a little bit. But let's see, what am I looking at here? Oh, I was looking at a very old. Okay, that's why. Yeah, I'm just flipping back and forth. There certainly could be some hail falling in far southeastern Wilkes County right now. think just to the east of Windy Gap, but approaching Buck Shoals here. Another something. Not sure, not sure what this is. Again, the reflectivity signature is not. It's kind of a strange looking little inflow there. It may be more of a convergent signature than anything else. So I don't know if that's noise yet or what, but it looks like they just warned on it.
Yep. So we have a new tornado warning for Surrey, Wilkes, and Yakin, which are counties that already had polygons. And we'll wait for that to appear on the map. But this is for a tornado possible near Buck Shoals, as you just mentioned. And again, I'll just mention the damage reports that are still coming in from Love Valley, whether they're associated with the first, second, or third rotation at this point. Trees are continuing to be reported down across the Love Valley area. I think that's going to be an area where storm surveys are going to be warranted. Somebody's going to need to go out there and take a look around. And I don't mean to say that like that they weren't thinking it. I'm sure I anticipate they're already thinking that.
Yeah.
We have folks watching from Pilot Mountain right now. A couple folks watching from up there in the Surrey County area. And so Pilot Mountain is just outside of where these polygons and rotations are. If you're on the west side of Pilot Mountain, then you're considered. But I mean, if you just look, we got 3 rotations right in a row here, and I'm sure Jared can point to them as I call them out: south of Dobson, south of Jonesville, and south of Love Valley. They're all warned, and these are going to continue to the north, but also to the east. So Pilot Mountain, stay with us, because it's going to be your turn here in the next hour or so as this entire line moves to the north, but with it to the east at the same time.
Yeah, we've got what we call the conga line of supercells here, and and it is a very not fun conga line by any stretch of the imagination. But it's possible that some of you in Pilot Mountain, you may be on adjacent cell towers that were in the polygon, but the signal traveled to you. So nothing's perfect. we'll put it that way, but still, if you're close enough to it, it certainly is something that you're close enough. And so that's something that you're going to want to watch, very carefully. So again, 3 active tornado warnings now in North Carolina. One of the Alexander and Iredell one, this one the further south, is poised to expire in about 6 minutes. We'll see what they do with it.
I'm hoping the condition improves, because I am worried about the state of the community in Love Valley, being that they've had several severe storms train over them over and over again in terms of response from emergency officials, utilities, communications.
Yeah, absolutely. And again, it's certainly messy. The presentation is messy. I'll turn the smoothing off, and it really is not, that doesn't really open up too many doors there. It is nasty near Statesville right now. It is nasty, and then not from any tornado. Not from any tornado. This is from probably damaging straight line winds, maybe some hail, and look at all the lightning strikes that have been showing up there as well. There's some indication that there might be something trying to spin up down here too. So we'll keep an eye on that.
The folks at the Weather Service in Roanoke just issued a new polygon for Surrey County, but I feel like it's right on top of the current polygon, but wider. So where's Pilot Mountain now? But also why?
I can probably estimate that it is this circulation that's south of Jonesville that is about, it's from what I understand, I think what's happening here is that we are trying to get as much lead time as possible on this conga line of supercells.
Sure.
You have the one cell so the new warning is just for Surrey. So I want to say that this inside polygon is for Dobson and Mount Airy. Pilot Mountain, they got you closer here, but again, if Pilot Mountain proper,
here's the double-edged sword with this though. So yes, now we're over communicating, wider threat, longer threat, more advanced, but you have so much automation in place, like weather apps and such, that if you're inside that first polygon, it's possible that you might get a notification here shortly that says tornado warning has been expired or canceled, and it's not going to over communicate that there's a second one layered on top of it.
Yeah, we have on the Carolina Weather Group Twitter. Actually, we are no longer sending a bajillion products every time somebody adjusts a polygon or anything like that. So that should hopefully keep some of the confusion down. We have a new tornado warning for Iredell that includes Statesville. Statesville, you're now under.
Just looking at.
Yeah, Statesville, you're now under a tornado warning. We are part of a church roof has gone in 3 miles northeast of Love Valley. Geez, aye. So here's a new tornado warning. This includes Statesville, Iredell County, up into Davie County, far northwest corner of Davie County. Also takes in Stony Point, Hiddenite, Love Valley. Again, you remain under multiple tornado warnings at the moment. But again, I think the tornado threat from this is going to be very near Statesville. We'll take a look at this from the GSP radar, and I mean, we saw this, we saw this trying to tighten up a little bit, and we may be able to get a better view of this from the Blacksburg radar here in a matter of moments. But certainly, James, I mean, if there's something in here, it's going to be probably, well, let's not, the Weather Service believes that the storm is going to be near Harmony around 8:20. That this is 4 miles west of Statesville, moving northeast at 40 miles an hour. So Harmony around 8:20 p.m. Sheffield, Hildenight, Union Grove, Scotts, and Turnersburg. Also, you're included in this. So we would definitely recommend that you get to a safe place. There may be a couple threats in here, not just from a tornado, but also from straight line winds as well. So again, if you're in Statesville, anywhere in Statesville, you're now under a tornado warning, and I would be taking shelter very soon here. We have a veritable glut of polygons right now as I take it a little bit further, as I take this a little bit further out. Just a glut of polygons at the moment. This one near Dobson is starting to organize quite nicely in reflectivity here in Surrey County. This is that the one for the inside. Tornado warnings are tornado warnings at this point. They both go until 8:30. So let's just, Dobson, White Plains, Mount Airy, tornado warning. The cell south of Dobson here has got a good looking inflow notch. And we're starting to see that rotation really start to organize here. So this is really, if I had to guess, this is basically taking Highway 601 up towards Dobson, and eventually White Plains, and then eventually Mount Airy if it can hold up. So again, if you're in Dobson, White Plains, Mount Airy, now is the time to get into that interior room, lowest floor, hallway, bathroom, closet. Put as many walls between you and the outside as possible. No windows. As a potentially tornadic circulation is on the approach. I can't make out. I got to tell you, I'm a little concerned. I don't know quite how noisy that is.
Are you looking from Blacksburg?
Yeah, it's kind of noisy on the correlation coefficient, and when I pull up the differential reflectivity, I'm not seeing the drop that I would be expecting. So I don't think we have a debris signature here. I think we just still have some beam depolarization, just some noise here. I'm going to try and cut through that here. Yeah, I don't see any signs of anything being lofted at this point, but again, we'll keep an eye on that because there is some high reflectivity and some slight lowering of the correlation coefficient here. I think the question is that melting hail? Which is EDR, which, using some of the other dual pole products certainly indicates that might be some melting hail there. So
can you widen out for me for just a moment? I just want to, it's 8:00. I want to reset. I want to make one, hopefully, cohesive thought. Do not travel I-77 in North Carolina right now. From Virginia to South Carolina, the whole thing is either under a tornado warning or a severe thunderstorm warning. In Charlotte, the southern portion, not so imminently, but whether you're commuting or you're traveling, the whole I-77 corridor right now at 8:00 is under the threat for severe weather.
Yeah, and you're going to be dealing with, and if you're not dealing with a tornado, you very well be dealing with straight line winds, hail. But most importantly, very heavy rain, and the risk for flooding is going to be escalating here as the night goes on. We have numerous flash flood warnings ongoing in the far west in the western North Carolina mountains right now, south of Asheville here, Brevard, Franklin. Considerable flooding here is certainly possible. Let me do one thing here real quick, and because I do want to touch on I do want to discuss this flooding threat quickly, because again, this is this in and of itself is a dangerous situation too. Tornadoes are, obviously very critical, but the water is going to affect a lot more people. You can see some of the radar estimates here: 4 to 5 inches in the last 12 hours. 4 to 5 inches of rain in the mountains in the last 12 hours. So, we have some flash flood warnings here. So again, if you encounter a flooded road, do the right thing, do the smart thing, turn around, don't drown. We don't want anybody getting caught in that. And there's more rain moving in to some of these flash flood warnings that extend into parts of Georgia. Flash flood warnings around Greenville have been allowed to expire. It looks like the rain there has subsided for the moment. But again, we're starting to see some intensification in Georgia here. So we're gonna have to keep an eye on that, because again, we got a couple rounds of this over the next couple days.
Radar is so hard over in western North Carolina anyway, especially when it's light. It's like hard to know whether or not it's really there or not. I want to answer Matthew's question here. How strong are the tornado warnings going to be in North Carolina? That's actually not something that's typically included in the warning. A warning just encompasses the potential for a tornado of any strength. Only in the most extreme of circumstances will the Weather Service attempt to indicate how strong a tornado is, but you'd essentially have to have eyeballs on it, and you'd be in Oklahoma. Any one of these tornado warnings right now could be an EF0, could be something stronger. The advice is the same. Just get to your safe place and stay there until the all clear is given. And again, I'm concerned there's going to be a communication issue with all of these polygons on top of each other. If you're relying on an app on your phone to tell you whether or not the alert is canceled or not, there's so many on top of each other that one could cancel, but the other one could still be there.
Yeah. So again, we will, we'll work with you on this, but again, here's Pilot Mountain right here. We have some requests about Pilot Mountain. Again, this is right now to your west, but again, over time, we're going to be watching these storms down here near Statesville, because these are the ones that are eventually going to be headed towards Yadkinville, East Bend, Pilot Mountain over time. We'll have to wait and see if these stay severe or if they organize, but the atmosphere here is still doing its thing. It's still doing the thing. It's still very conducive as these storms cross I-77. So let's take it from the top here. Really, the storm I'm most concerned about is approaching White Plains now. Still running up 601 in Surrey County near Dobson. Still a good looking, a pretty decent looking rotational signature here. It's come up and down over time, but that's to be expected. But White Plains Mount area, again, this is your storm. This is something that you're going to want to take very seriously. And get into a safe place, as soon as you can, for the next little bit. And unfortunately, there's another one on the doorstep here. And again, down towards Jonesville and Boonville. Again, these are all, as James mentioned, these are riding I-77. We have some strong, at least some indications of some strong straight line winds here. I don't know that we're not getting a good look at any rotation here, but there is a broad rotation here, crossing 77 at 21 in Yadkin County, northwest, of Yadkinville. So we are watching that very closely. Let's go down to the next tornado warned storm near Statesville. And again, we're looking from Blacksburg on these, and I've got a couple vantage points. Statesville's still in the warning, but I think your rotation has started to move north of there. Looks like a new rotation might be trying to develop north of Statesville. Let's see if I can't get any more specific on that location there, folks. Give me just a second to pull that up over here. It looks like this is. It looks like it's along the. yeah, the Wilkesboro Highway here. Wilkesboro Highway to Center Street. Just again, looking at a couple different sources of radar data here, but again, very close to I-77. I think that's the main takeaway here is that we have a lot of storms near I-77. It's kind of the danger zone, so to speak. Going to see Top Gun tomorrow, so I have to get that in there. I have to tell everybody to see Top Gun. So kind of in the danger zone there right now on 77. So Harmony, Love Valley. If there's one bit of good news is that this is trending to your east. Love Valley has taken probably the hardest hit of the night that we have seen here since we've been on. Numerous reports of damage out of there from thunderstorm winds or possible tornado. That certainly will be surveyed tomorrow if I had to guess. So again, the good news is that the tornado threat and the severe threat will be ending soon in Love Valley. Again, zooming out a little bit, looking from Blacksburg, it's this line, this conga line of supercells here that we're worried about, and again, we're getting some of these closer and closer into the Charlotte metro area as well, as we alluded to earlier. And we'll let me take the wider view here real quick, and I can kind of show you the regional view, and I can kind of show you just exactly what we're looking at here. And again, there's your, I mean, this is a mess of polygons. This is a polygonal, just the most important thing is that, again, if you're in Dobson, Mount Airy here, there's a good looking rotation on the way in. Jonesville, Yadkinville, this is to your east, but again, we're watching what could be a decent hail producer. Let's look at some of the hail tracks here. I mean, in the last hour, the hail tracks have been looking pretty good near Statesville, and starting to get into Gastonia as well. And again, this is estimated hail over the last hour, max hail size. Let's see if I can get here's some of the rotational tracks here, and you can clearly see some of the rotation tracks from these storms as they've moved by. So we've got a lot happening here. And again, I'm just checking all the chats, all the things, and it's a very busy night, as you can imagine. But again, let's get back to this Mount Airy storm. I am the storm in northern Surrey County or White Plains. This is certainly showing continues to show signs of strong rotation, and is right over White Plains right now. There's your inflow notch. There's your hook echo right here. And Mount Airy, this is about to get right on top of you. So again, if you're in Mount Airy, the time is now to be in shelter. We still have a second storm that sets some transient circulation that's over I-77 south of Jonesville near Boonville. Looks like it might split the uprights here. And so if that happens, then we'll have to we'll be watching that closely, because still get some strong winds here in Boonville. All right, Iredell, let me see here, checking on some reports, and I'll take myself full here so we have the full thrust of the radar here. Let me none of these are really being reported, but there is reportedly a funnel cloud North Chipley Ford 800 block moving north. So it's in Iredell County. So we'll have to keep an eye on that. Again, we have the tornado warning right here in Statesville. And we're just in no man's land, my friends. I mean, it just when it comes to radar here, it's a somewhat of a difficult situation. And I don't say that to sound like we're complaining. That's the way it is. Yeah, we got a lot of purple haze showing up here. I wonder if I can get it on the terminal. Give me just a second here.
Terminal should at least get you to the Statesville area.
Yeah, it does. It does. And yeah, I'm not seeing. The good news is if I let me switch to that. again, we're looking at a radar scope here with the terminal Doppler. I don't really see much in the way of low-level spin, which is good news. Out of Statesville, that's what we like to see. Again, this is looking lower into the storm, about 1,000 feet into the storm. But
Yeah, I didn't want to say
just to the east of Love Valley. Looks like there's a low-level rotation there, and so we'll try and correlate that with what the 88D is showing me. And again, yeah, I think I kind of see it with the 88D. Again, that's the beauty of the terminal, is that we can see the lower end. We can see where that low-level rotation is. Again, these are winds going away. These are winds going towards. So if there's anything there, it's going to be right in here. And put this into motion here, and it looks like it's just moving due north, maybe slightly east of north here. Again, approaching kind of paralleling North Carolina Highway 115 right here, and approaching North Carolina Highway 901. So here's your circulation. If there's a circulation, if there's anything down, it's going to be right here. And this is heading north and with a little bit of an east component towards North Carolina Highway 901 between 115 and I-77. So the terminal Doppler, we're not going to have much more range out of this thing, unfortunately. Nope. But this is giving us a good idea as to what could be there.
I'm sorry for the people of Love Valley. The storm anxiety is understandably high.
Yeah, and that is and that's an understatement for sure. Again, we'll set this into motion here, and you can see just the eastward propagation, James. I think there's a little bit. I wouldn't be surprised if people were seeing a little bit of a shelf cloud beginning to emanate from this as well. It looks like there's an outflow boundary crossing Lowesville, heading into Huntersville. So,
Mountain Lake, Mount Holly, Belmont, Airport, Charlotte Douglas.
Yeah, so it looks like the terminal Doppler is picking up on a little bit of an outflow boundary, and what that means is that's a gust front. That's potentially a shelf cloud. There may be, and what's interesting is that we see the outflow boundary is moving east. We also see some additional, activity moving north and west. So again, near this outflow boundary, if new storms can fire near this outflow boundary, I would start to get concerned about the potential for those to begin rotating as well. So again, we're going to watch that closely. Again, we have a huge severe thunderstorm warning. It includes Gastonia, Dallas, Stanley, High Shoals, Sherrills Ford, Cornelius, right on the border of Huntersville. Troutman also includes Statesville, which is also under a tornado warning, although I think the tornado threat there is ending here pretty soon, and we'll wait to see what the Weather Service is going to say.
I will say on the north side of this, Jared, there's also now a severe thunderstorm warning going into Virginia, where one of those tornado warnings, the one that we were watching out of the Mount Airy area, seems to now be transitioning to a wind threat associated with that thunderstorm. Yeah. And just on the left side there, just shy of Fancy Gap and Canna, we do actually have a DOT camera from the Virginia Department of Transportation. You can just see how poor the visibility is, how heavy the rain is, and of course how dark it's getting now at 8:15. This is a look inside of that severe thunderstorm warning.
Yep. Yeah. So again, Mount Airy, again, right now, the concern certainly here. Here's the circulation. If there is a circulation, that's where it is. And yes, regardless of whether there's a tornado or not, it looks like we have some very strong winds moving into Mount Airy. I can do a little pixel query on that, and that's close to 70-mile-an-hour inbound winds moving into there. So again, regardless of the spinny threat, there are certainly concerns for damaging straight line winds, and I believe that is what Blacksburg is warning on going for the north. So let's get back to the terminal real quick, see if we can't.
That Love Valley storm just got mentioned in a tornado warning update. It's the area of concern, 5 miles east of Love Valley.
Yeah, so this is it right here. Yeah, this is that area of concern right here. Actually, no, that's not the area of concern. This is the area of concern. Again, it is east of Love Valley. Winds going towards, winds going away. And so if there's anything there, it could be right there. Now, again, sometimes we get some noise here on this. It is, I don't know. I don't think it's going 89 miles an hour inbound there, but it certainly could have some noise fitting into that. But again, yeah. So that tornado warning looks like they have just canceled out Alexander. Alexander County, no active severe thunderstorm or tornado warnings at this point, which is wonderful news for those of you in Taylorsville. That is really good news. But unfortunately, that's going to mean that we're going to start dealing with the potential for some very heavy rain moving in there. Still a nasty situation. Really,
I
just a
just found a
nasty line of
picture
thunderstorms.
of your wall cloud. The contrast is not great, but I think if you look at this DOT camera from the Lake Norman area on 77, I think that is your shelf cloud. Excuse me, shelf cloud, not wall cloud. Shelf cloud.
Yep, there's your shelf cloud. Yeah, and that's and again, that's the outflow boundary.
I'll look for a higher contrast camera. But.
Yeah, no, that's fine. I'm just reading some of these reports that we're seeing in our chat. Apparently a touchdown near Love Valley, Estes Road, to reported there, and that would that makes sense. Let me again getting some questions around northeast of Gastonia, and looking at that, looks like that's more of a straight line wind threat right now, headed towards Mount Holly and eventually Cornelius and Huntersville and Mooresville. If I put my rotation product on it, it looks pretty weak. There is a small area right here. It's kind of hard to see against the green background. But let me turn the background off for a second. You kind of see there's that slight patch of green there. I'm still working on these colors. So, but right now, I think the main concern is going to be damaging winds and hail from this storm. Again, we have a large severe thunderstorm warning ongoing. Gastonia, I suspect that you may be cleared from this soon, because again, it looks like most of this is pushing to the east. And if there is one good thing about the outflow starting to kick up, starting to become more outflow dominant, that's going to cut down on the tornado risk a little bit within these individual cells, but also could help accelerate these storms a little bit more to the east, so it gets through faster. So that's we can only hope. Yeah, that's not bad.
Yeah, I'm trying to find the shelf cloud. This is on the I-45 loop, east side of town, kind of over by Mountain Island. I'm just kind of clicking around some of these cameras that the DOT has, but you can at least see how dark it is as a severe thunderstorm approaches.
Yeah, there it is. Yeah, that's not bad. So certainly would not want to be in an airplane. It looks very bumpy up there right now. You see the little waves there. That's the motion that you're going to be making in the airplane, and then you're going to be making this movement, and you're just barfing everywhere or white knuckle or just something like that. But anyway, aircraft aside, we still have some rotation touchdown area of I-77 and Highway 901 in northern Iredell. So that one, we just called that out here. Let me go back to the terminal Doppler real quick, folks. And there, again, we're not sure. I'm not sure of the reliability, but somewhere in this neck of the woods, may have had something touch down northern Iredell. So. Again, that's the local weather spotters out of there relaying ham reports. Again, we'll see if that ends up being a thing, but certainly, we've been watching this circulation for quite some time, and as it's moved through Iredell County and is about ready to cross 901 as we speak, and based off of the radar presentation from the terminal Doppler, and again, we are very close to losing it. So once it gets really out of Iredell County, we're going to lose our look at that. So, yes, we get. So we still have a good bit of weather ongoing here. Let's go back to the Mount Airy storm, and we got a couple of these that we'll call out here. So first, here's Mount Airy. Again, these are this is starting to get away from you. Again, you're kind of right in the inflow notch right now. Very heavy, very strong winds moving through Mount Airy right now. Unclear if they are tornadic in nature. But this is going to be crossing over into Virginia very shortly. So we're going to let this storm go in a minute. We have a second storm with possible circulation, again, kind of splitting the uprights between Jonesville and Boonville, roughly between I-77 and Highway 601, kind of splitting the difference there. If you're in Dobson, I'd be watching on this very closely. It looks like you're kind of you're in line for this one. Again, you're still seeing some heavy rain in Dobson right now, but this the potential, this possibly tornadic circulation continues to head towards Dobson. Haven't had any reports out of this one yet, but again, it's early, and we'll see what happens there. There may be a new supercell trying to get going near Pinnacle. This is kind of an early stage, maybe an early stage supercell just to the east of Pilot Mountain. We'll keep an eye on that. And just in the last few frames, it looks like this has started to. You can see that increase in velocity on the southern flank here. So we'll be watching that. I'm going to keep an eye on that one closely. But again, seeing severe thunderstorm warnings, new severe thunderstorm warning now out for much of Yadkin County, Surrey County, getting into Stokes County now, for the potential for a storm near Rhonda, moving northeast at 35, and this, and again, 60-mile-an-hour wind gusts are the main concern here. So again, let's get to that storm real quick. Yeah, so this is this cluster of storms here. Makes me wonder. Tornado warning has canceled. All right, so we have one of the tornado warnings has expired. So the larger polygon for Surrey, Wilkes, and Yadkin County has expired. They are looks like the posture is to begin replacing this with the severe thunderstorm warnings. Again, this northeast of Jonesville could potentially bear watching, but I'm not really seeing much on the reflectivity that would suggest that there's any hooking happening there. The circulation exiting Iredell is looking kind of weak on the 88D, but it's still somewhat visible on the terminal Doppler, so we're going to keep an eye on that as it exits Iredell and gets into far southwest Yadkin County. So we'll keep an eye on that. Again, fully rain wrapped at this point. Statesville very likely dealing with heavy rain and hail and strong gusty winds. Tornado warning remains in effect, but I don't see anything specific in Statesville that would have me concerned for an immediate tornado threat there. Again, we'll go back to
I was watching
GSP.
in Iredell County there in Statesville. I was watching that one little area too. Nothing jumping out to me other than probably a pretty good gust of wind right now at that I-77, I-40 corridor. And by gust of wind, I mean 40 miles an hour, 45 miles an hour.
Yeah, there's a station nearby that
the airport, right?
Yeah, the airport, Statesville Airport here at this is at 7:55. So again, this is not really up to date. So, but they had a west wind at 17, gusting to 26. But again, if we go back, let's move the radar back to where we were at about the time that that was taken. This is what the radar looked like at the time the observation was taken. So again,
looks like our sorry.
Go ahead.
No, I was I'm at Sky's back with us tonight on YouTube, and it looks like our gust front, our outflow boundary has now crossed into that Lake Norman area over near Cornelius. We were watching for that kind of to get out there, and that's arrived now.
Yeah. Yep. So yeah, that sounds about right. So anyway, we're gonna let James go here. It's 8:25. We're gonna let James go. He's got to do dinner with the fam. I'm gonna be here for the next little bit as we continue to watch what now is just one tornado warning left. So let's hope we can stick with that, because I'd like to get some dinner at some point too. It's been a night, that's for sure. But Statesville currently probably getting really rocked at Statesville. And again, if there is any sort of tornado concern, and really struggling to see it there, as I take that full, let me go back to Blacksburg here. We're still ping-ponging between two radars. We're going to be doing a good bit of that, considering of where this is. And we had a funnel cloud reported at 8:10 in Iredell County. 4 miles southeast of Love Valley. So that was about 15 minutes ago. This is what the radar looked like around that time. And yeah, we had a little bit of a circulation moving over, a little bit of a weak circulation moving over at that point, which we were capturing on the terminal Doppler here. But when I look at the radar now, I'm not seeing as much in the way of pronounced circulations. A lot of wind shear along the leading edge of the line, but I'm not seeing much in the way of circulations. And again, this tornado warning for Iredell and Davie County, the only two that are still in the warning here. This continues until 8:45. So this is going to go for another 20 minutes or so, a little under 20 minutes. But we'll see what GSP does with it. Again, right now, not looking too bad, but certainly a hail threat, strong gusty winds are certainly possibilities with this as this line of storms moves eastward. So let's with a kind of a slight respite in the tornado warnings. Let me go back to the regional view here, and again, when we look at North Carolina, really along the I-77 corridor right now, severe thunderstorm warnings lining I-77 into Virginia. The tornado warning kind of stuck in the middle here around in Statesville, Harmony. But again, this looks like it's transitioning more towards a linear threat at this point. Looks like this is beginning to become a little bit more linear. And again, this is the only tornado warning on the board now in let's see, in Statesville. So that would be Iredell and Davie. And again, I'm checking all of my different sources of radar here because I have a couple. And it looks like we have, all right, so those have been expired. Yeah, so again, we have just the one tornado warning here. And again, Love Valley seems to have taken quite a hit tonight. So we're going to have to watch that very closely here. Let me, we still have so again, the warnings are expiring. There's still some weak rotation approaching Dobson, but the Weather Service in Blacksburg has opted not to continue the tornado warning in this area. So Mount Airy, Dobson, right now you're under a severe thunderstorm warning for damaging straight line winds, 60 miles an hour. I want to say that they did put the tornado possible tag on this. So again, small spin ups are possible within the line. So let me do the local radar here. So there you go. There's your severe thunderstorm warning for damaging straight line winds. Although there were still need to watch these discrete cells as they move by. So again, so kind of rocking back and forth, kind of show you how this has evolved here over time. We have and so it looks like the tornado warning is continuing. GSP is going to keep the tornado warning for Davie and Iredell. Waiting on the updated polygon here. 4 miles northeast of Statesville, moving northeast at 30. That's where they have the latest fix. I think they're talking about this notch here. Let me see if I can see it from GSP. And again, it's very broad and difficult to see, but again, out of an abundance of caution, you see the inflow notch there north of Statesville. I wonder if I may also be able to see something at least on the terminal Doppler. And I think that may be actually where they're sourcing the warning at this point. Let me get over to the terminal Doppler here real quick. If I can get the velocity here. So we'll, again, looking at the terminal Doppler radar out of Charlotte here. Again, here's Statesville right here. Here's about 4 miles northeast. So I think what they're thinking is somewhere in here where we have this little notch is potentially right along I-40. It could be where the Weather Service is thinking that a tornado could be continuing here. So again, this is the only tornado warning on the board at this point, not only in North Carolina but in the country. And right now, it's if there's anything there, it's going to be right around I-40. So we have some strong, with some strong outbounds here, some less strong outbounds here. And again, if I can make a couple adjustments here to what I'm looking at. I can probably trade. I'm going to trade Blacksburg for the terminal on the other software, um, and and this should help me get a little bit of a better look at the storm relative velocity here. So let me switch all that back. And again, we just got a lot moving on here. So yeah, here's your rotation right here. I think that, we take the storm motion out of it, and I think that helps to kind of show what we're looking at here. And again, let me load some frames real quick. And again, I'm looking all over the place. We're looking at it's so they're using the terminal Doppler to kind of figure this up. And again, as you can see, as we go back through time, it looks like a rotation very possibly went right over Statesville, and crossed I-40 here, and is now north of I-40, kind of east of 77, north of I-40, right here. So if there's a rotation, this is where it is, and so there you go. So right here, so right here, it just, again, kind of a weak circulation showing up. And if I'm going to tilt up a little bit and see if I can't see anything else. But again, we're getting 1 minute updates from this radar to the south. And so we're watching that closely. And that's just, this just is how this goes. Again, if there's going to be anything there, it's going to be right to the northeast of Statesville here, Iredell. So potentially exiting Iredell County at this point, getting into Davie County, and we are waiting on. We have a report of. Okay, let me see if I can't. So again, if there's going to be anything here, it's going to be right. It's going to be just to the east of 21, north of 40, just south of Harmony, and so it'd be interesting to see what happens here. Very interesting to see what happens with what GSP tries to do here. It's very probable that they may need to extend the tornado warning further east. They may need to extend the tornado warning further east into Moxville, Farmington, Advance. And so we'll keep an eye on this, see if this is making a right jog. But again, we'll keep an eye on that. So again, we're at 8:35 right now. Jared Smith here with the Carolina Weather Group. We've been joined periodically throughout the night. Scotty Powell was in with you this earlier today. James Brierton coming in and kind of helping me out a little bit. As we go, we continue tornado warning coverage in central North Carolina for one tornado warning now northeast of Statesville, North Carolina, right along I-40. And again, looking at using the terminal Doppler radar, we can indicate that there is a weak area of rotation north of I-40 and east of Highway 21 now, just south of Harmony. And getting very close to Cool Springs and Turnersburg. As I look at other sources of data, I've got all sorts of different data sources here. And so right in here is where we believe that if there is anything, there could be the potential for severe weather in this neck of the woods for potential tornadic circulation. Again, conflicting reports coming in, kind of in the fog of war here. So we're gonna keep a close eye on this. Again, we're getting some questions about tomorrow, and again, another round of thunderstorms is possible tomorrow because again, the front is still the front's still back there, and we'll get this going. We have reports of street flooding now throughout Hickory. So again, in the short term, the severe weather threat as it moves east will be replaced with a flash flood threat. And we certainly have had our share of precipitation this evening in some spots here. I'll go back to that in a little bit, but right now the main concern area is still this area of rotation, kind of noisy, but still just kind of straddling I-40, just south of Harmony, really straddling the eastern edge of this polygon. And so we're still very much straddling the eastern edge of this polygon at this point, getting into Davie County. I mean, very close to Davie County at this point. So again, right here near Turnersburg, approaching. Looks like it's splitting the difference between Turnersburg and Cool Springs at the moment. Sheffield, you might be next in line for this, provided it can hold up. We will see, and again, there's some evidence that maybe it's deviating a little bit right of center as far as that goes. But yeah, so let's see if I can get Sheffield to come up on the map. Looks like I can't, unfortunately, but Sheffield is over in Davie County, and that's an area that we're going to want to watch. Real quick, as we continue to monitor this storm, I do want to briefly chime in with. I do want to briefly chime in about what's coming, and again, we kind of get an idea of that by taking the regional views. So let's do that. Let's do that here. And again, here's your severe thunderstorm watch. We have a severe thunderstorm watch that goes until 10 o'clock. That includes the Charlotte metro area as this line of thunderstorms continues to push eastward. The other thing that we're dealing with, and I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to add some data here so we can look at the pressure system. So here's low pressure. Here's a low up in Illinois, and if we have the 10-meter wind on, and there's a kind of a big expansive low here. Wind's not terribly strong, but if I turn on the fill, the mesofill, and you can see that there's a frontal boundary that's stretching from Mississippi up through Tennessee into Indiana. And this frontal boundary is going to lumber east overnight, and this is going to potentially be a trigger for another round of severe weather tomorrow, particularly in North Carolina, eastern North Carolina, and South Carolina. So we'll be watching that very closely. Let me get a new editor here real quick, and what I'm going to do, and clear that. And I'm just looking at a couple other sources of data, because that's what we do here. We look at as many sources of data as we can. That's an important thing to do. But there is at least a slight risk for damaging wind gusts and severe thunderstorms to come through that second round, potentially midday tomorrow in Charlotte. What we can do is let's go back to our terminal Doppler real quick. We'll get to that here. I want to lost my connection to the that, and waiting on that. Come on, baby, you can do it. There we go. All right. So we'll go back to the local radar view. This is the area of concern near I-40. This is definitely looking weaker, which I'm all about. I'm all about things looking weaker when it comes to supercellular thunderstorms. So all about that, and we are going to continue to see if this warning is going to be extended eastward. The terminal Doppler doesn't really give me a lot of, at this point, doesn't really give me much in the way of concerns there. We'll go to the local radar. We'll go to the high res radar also out of GSP, and there's a broad rotation here, but that's at 8,000 feet. The terminal Doppler radar looks at 1,000 feet, so it's much closer to the ground. And when we don't see that rotation there, that much closer to the ground, that gives us confidence that that the rotation is primarily aloft, and it certainly seems like that is the case. As we look at just switching between base and storm relative velocity. Storm relative velocity being we take the forward speed out of the equation, and that helps us identify the areas of rotation a little bit easier. And really, this is just kind of a noisy mess at this point. The radar is also looking through a lot of heavy rain. I can promise you that it is beginning to rain quite hard in Harmony. So again, this reflectivity view, these terminal Dopplers tend to, when they hit heavy rain, they tend to attenuate, and so that is gonna attenuate and not quite look as strong, but I can promise you that that it is still very much very heavy rain. And we are waiting on a warning decision from the National Weather Service in Greenville, Spartanburg, on what they're going to do with this tornado warning. Again, this tornado warning is going to expire in 2 minutes. So right now, this tornado warning expires at 8:45 Eastern. So this is going to expire in about 2 minutes. And again, looks like this is transitioning to be more of a linear severe weather threat as time goes on. And again, peeking further south into the Charlotte metro, we're starting to see some thunderstorms get in there, but they're noticeably weaker further south. And I want to say that we're starting to see maybe some stabilization from one, night, two, the better upper air moving away in the short term here, kind of getting into Virginia. We've had a question, questions about Pilot Mountain. You're going to have some strong storms moving in. Again, you're under a severe thunderstorm warning in Pilot Mountain right now. We have severe thunderstorm warnings that are basically lining the I-77 corridor, either a severe thunderstorm or a tornado warning, lining the I-77 corridor here. And the small hail threat, but mostly a wind threat. Currently interesting at Surrey County Airport. Well, that was never mind. That was 30 minutes ago, so that's not useful at all. So here's your line right here. And in fact, what I can do is I can actually take this a little bit. I can take this a little bit further here. Let me get the 2, 3. That's the one. Yeah. So let me get the regional view back out. So again, here's your line. We have some showers and thunderstorms also going to move back into South Carolina. We have some showers coming ashore around Charleston, some showers and maybe a thunderstorm or two in the PD area. And we've had a lot of questions about Eastern North Carolina. And Eastern North Carolina is where the severe threat is going to be tomorrow. Eastern North Carolina, Eastern South Carolina. And that is where the main concern as the front lumbers eastward, where we could see the front run into some air that's had a better chance to destabilize and potentially have a severe weather threat there. So again, we've just seen the tornado warning expire. That has been replaced with a huge severe thunderstorm warning, a big severe thunderstorm warning. We can show it to you. This is going to include the Charlotte metro area. Go to the analyst rather. So this is so here's your new severe thunderstorm warning. This includes Statesville, Salisbury, Concord, Charlotte proper, for the risk of 60-mile-an-hour winds and quarter-size hail. At this point, GSP is not indicating that that they are imminently concerned about a tornado threat. Again, this seems to be transitioning into a straight line wind threat. We have a comment here, dark clouds east of York. Any idea if there's anything over there? Just east of York, there's that severe thunderstorm warning polygon. Um, but you are okay. And in fact, because this line is through, your severe weather threat is going to begin to decrease. And the thing that we're going to really begin to be concerned about is the potential for flash flooding, and that's going to be something that we watch closely. So again, I'm going to hang here for a few minutes, but again, 8:46 right now, and the best news of the day is that we have no further tornado warnings on the board at this point. Just severe thunderstorm warnings. Now, granted, I say just severe thunderstorm warnings. I mean, 60-mile-an-hour winds. It could certainly blow some things through. But and again, when we look at the edge of the line here, we can never rule it out that something could quickly spin up and down. And so we're going to be watching that terminal Doppler still for that potential. But right now, the concern is straight line wind. The concern is going to be straight line wind, really from Virginia down I-77, really down I-77 all the way to the South Carolina border. At this point, the concern is for damaging straight line wind in that area. So we're going to keep an eye on this in the meantime. But at this point, with no further tornado warnings, what we're going to do is we're going to go ahead and step aside, I think. So with the tours cleared, we're gonna step aside for the moment. If a new one comes back up, we'll be back here. So hit that like and subscribe on YouTube, or follow us on Facebook. Carolina Weather Group. We are, we're busy guys. And again, the thing that we want to be careful of now is that we're going to start to see we're transitioning out of that tornado threat, this tornado issues, to more of a straight line damaging wind threat moving across central North Carolina this evening. Behind that, a flooding threat with some heavy downpours that have numerous flash flood warnings out around Franklin and Brevard. Over here in the North Carolina Blue Ridge. So again, for tomorrow, Kevin is asking, are we under the tornado watch tomorrow? And then, of course, they don't issue that far out. But I will say that the outlook is for thunderstorms, a slight risk for strong to severe thunderstorms. With the potential here, as I wrangle my dog, who is he is very much attached to my lap at this point. I'm pulling I'm pulling some of the Outlook products here real quick on another screen. Unfortunately, I don't have a graphic system that can show that, but it can show the day 2, but I can show you the day 1. There is a slight tornado threat, a 2 to 5% risk of tornadoes, primarily going to be focused on the mid-Atlantic, but there are going to be portions of, looks like in the Greensboro and Raleigh, possibly seeing the potential for tornadoes generally along the line that is expected to develop tomorrow. We can take a quick look at tomorrow before I go. Let me get that reconnected here. Let me go to the future cast and get this set up for you. Let's set the stage here. So this is the high res going out set to about 1 o'clock tomorrow. I'll back it up a little bit because a good bit of this is happening in the morning. So Mount Airy tomorrow, is there a risk of tornadoes? I would say that there is a small risk. It's not it's certainly, there's certainly a non-zero possibility of that, but again, damaging straight line winds are the main concern tomorrow. Damaging straight line winds and hail. So again, going back, let's kind of going forward in time. We have this round of storms that's moving through right now. It is expected that we'll have another round of showers and thunderstorms, sub-severe, getting into the Charlotte metro. And then as we get into, we could be seeing showers and thunderstorms ongoing as we commute tomorrow morning in places like Charleston, up through Florence, east of Charlotte, Raleigh, the east side of Charlotte there. And we'll move through time here, and we can see that getting to 1 o'clock, the numerous showers and thunderstorms with the looks like a prefrontal trough. It looks like there's a couple fronts involved here, but a prefrontal area of convection that'll be moving through. And again, the risk will be there for dangerous weather. Looking at the Cape here, this is a convective available potential energy forecast, and where you see the yellows here, that's generally over 1,000 joules of Cape, and that's pretty good. That's a pretty unstable atmosphere. It's plenty of fuel for the storms to work with, advecting into the area. So we're going to keep an eye on that tomorrow for eastern North Carolina and eastern South Carolina. And again, overnight, as we look overnight, we look at the instability profiles overnight. There's still some instability that could be hanging around here, so we can't totally rule it out. A few stronger storms developing even in the morning. So again, this will be something that we watch throughout the day. Looking at the updraft helicity tracks, along that leading edge there, we could be somewhat busy in the mornings. So we'll keep an eye on that. But in the meantime, again, prepare for a busy day, a rainy, nasty day in some spots, somewhat stormy at times, and that's going to be that's going to be the thing. But yeah, this is a really good astute look here, because again, this is why we're concerned about flooding. Now, as you see the severe thunderstorm warnings there, but I'll set this in motion. It's going to blink a little bit, so I'm going to go back to the local radar here, see if we can't pick anything out of the terminal Doppler. Again, so far so good on the terminal Doppler here. Go back to analyst here as that loads up, and we'll just put this in motion here, and you can see this is a kind of stretching back to about 7:45 or so. And that is definitely, these are slow moving storms, and they drop in a lot of rain. So again, we're going to be concerned about that flash flooding threat. And again, we have more rain coming in behind it. Some of that upslope has really caused some problems. You can see these green polygons here. These are flash flood warnings in Georgia, and it looks like we have some stretching into Oconee County now, South Carolina, generally in the Blue Ridge here, south of Asheville and Waynesville, Franklin, Brevard, Transylvania County, Jackson County, Macon County. It looks like that one, Macon County, might have just cleared. Yeah, that one just cleared, but certainly a dangerous situation. Evolving for travel in that area. And again, taking one more look at our severe thunderstorms, again, damaging straight line winds, 60 miles an hour plus, quarter size hail, main concerns from this. There is a quick spin up is not going to be totally ruled out. But again, the tornado threat should be decreasing with time. Severe thunderstorm watch will continue for the next hour in this area as well. But once this line gets through, we're seeing that severe thunderstorm watch get trimmed back further and further, and we should be able to. I suspect that as the heating of the day subsides, that we'll see things begin to weaken a little bit more. But again, line of thunderstorms from Charlotte Metro through just east of Statesville now up towards Mount Airy, and this is moving eastward pretty slowly. So some heavy rains to be expected out of that. But the severe weather threat to the west of that has ended for tonight, and again tomorrow we may be dealing with another round of severe storms. But for now, at this point, the severe weather threat for tonight is beginning to wind down, which is welcome news for my throat and for all of you in the area. So what we're going to do, we're going to go ahead and tap out of here, I think. We are seeing some reports from some of the earlier weather that has happened. So again, we'll be keep an eye on the Carolina Weather Group, Twitter, Facebook, here on YouTube. We'll have updates here as needed, and as we learn about, some places did potentially take tornado hits tonight and other straight line wind damage threats as well. So certainly a busy night in the weather world here in the Carolinas. Seems to be a theme these days, but so it goes. But for now, we'll go ahead and let you go. So again, on behalf of Scotty Powell and James Brierton, I'm Jared Smith here at the Carolina Weather Group. I'm based in Charleston, helping out all over the Carolinas. So Thank you for watching. Thank you for watching and subscribing. And with any luck, we won't see you again tonight. But if we do, if we need to, we will. So again, be safe. And again, Eastern North Carolina, Eastern South Carolina are places of concern for tomorrow. So stay tuned, stay weather aware. We'll have you up to date, Twitter, Facebook, as needed. So thank you all for watching, and good night.